was a willow. She left.
Oh. Because I noticed. That's why.
Oh, there she is. She's coming back.
She'll come back. She's usually in here. Hey, Wheelie! Come here! Come here! She actually kind of enjoys this. It's the only reason why. She's a fan. None of the other cats are, but she's very much okay with this. Meh. Meh. Oh, hello.
Oh, there's people already.
There's Alcoholic Monster now?
There sure is.
Guess you have Cyber Andy.
I've been a viewer for 4 years. Huh.
Well, I'm glad.
Alcoholic Monster. There sure is. Monster bought out a brewery a little over a year ago, and I've been making this stuff for almost a year. But because of our contracts, I can't brew, or I can't buy everything that we brew. So I've had to wait for it to become available in stores. And it's fun that you mentioned that. Is that what you called the stream?
Huh? Yes.
Yeah.
It was labeled as Starfield Part 9, but it's 6% even? Nice.
Yeah,
so it's like a reasonable percentage
yes.
even.
So a little bit higher than a lot of what else is out there. I just have it keeping cold here. So, but it comes in 4 flavors. We're going to go over them. We're going to talk about them. We're going to rate them maybe. I probably won't use a number, but we'll tell you if we like them or not. So.
That's for you.
Oh, this is for thank you. I have lots to do with this right now.
Yeah, you do. Look at it. Look at how good that is. Look down the thing. Look at how mirror polished it is. Look at that 6-groove rifling.
It could be cleaned a little bit.
I mean, I'll get the kit if you want.
Yeah. If you look on the right side in there, it's got some stuff.
Oh, that's
it could probably be wiped out really easily.
Yeah,
but
that's just grease.
Yeah.
It's good though. Got good lanes and grooves, very mirror polished.
Using teeth as currency, interesting. It is not caffeinated. I found that that's actually one of the big misconceptions a lot of people have seen about it. Most of it, I think, is because the marketing hasn't been very good. And the distribution has also been not what they said it was going to be initially. Because, the first thing they said was... Look at the cat play. The first thing that they had said was that distribution was going to start in the states in which it was being, made in. And it's not that, because we've been making it in Minnesota for over a year now, and I have only just found it on the market. And even when I was looking at articles that they were talking about their distribution, Minnesota wasn't even listed in one of the first 10 states that they said it was going to be distributed in, even though we're making it. So and we've actually even moved on to they're doing a new set. So we've only first gotten their seltzers, which all of them are spoofs of existing Monster flavors. And they're coming out with a set of caffeinated, or not caffeinated, sorry. They're coming out with a set of alcoholic teas as well. And it's because of their experience with having really gross alcoholic teas. So,
Isn't kombucha alcoholic?
Well, kombucha can be alcoholic.
I've seen
a lot
some
of times,
that are, yeah.
Yeah, so they'll say that it's, if you're pregnant or not having alcohol for religious reasons, even regular kombucha will have warning labels not to consume it, but there are actual alcoholic kombuchas like Strange Beast, which we've had a couple times with those flavors. Yeah. So,
hey, boo. Kitties.
Yeah.
Kitties are enjoying it. The light's not normally on, so normally they're not this interested. Also, we're both in here.
Yeah.
So they're kind of meh, being weird out there. See, right there is where the Pippin poop was. It would have been on camera if I didn't pick it up. It was right there.
Pippin.
Yeah. I was like, wow, you went downstairs real fast. So.
Yeah.
Well, no, we're not married. See, there's no.
Yeah.
Nothing there. So. Don't read anything about history? That's not good. History's good. That's how you learn stuff. Everything's happened before. Hey, are you excited that we're going to go to the moon again? For reals this time?
For real this time?
Yeah.
Not for fake?
Just to show China who's bossed?
Right. Yeah, that'll be cool. I haven't really kept up with that or seen much about it, but...
NASA doesn't plan to go there for like another 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Because
I
was listening, they just forgot all of the shit of like how to go to the moon.
Sounds like we've really been there. Yeah.
Since like the 60s? Yeah, and I was like, okay, guy, whatever you fucking have to say. He's like, oh, the infrastructure and the technology has just come so far, I can't even like read the shit from the 60s anymore. And it's like, there's people that are still alive that worked on that. Why don't you go like talk to them? Yeah. And it's like, we just can't replicate all the stuff to like go to the moon again. I'm like, I'm not buying at all what you're selling. If it was that historic of a fucking event, like you would have all of that shit like fucking bronzed, like people do to their fucking baby shoes. Like you would know exactly in 2 minutes how to go to the fucking moon again.
That's how all those people did all those calculations by hand. It didn't even happen.
Well, most of it was done by a woman, actually.
I know, yeah.
Which is cool.
There's a movie about her and everything.
Her and her big, standing next to her, almost as tall as she is, stack of equations for how to get to the moon.
Do you still have the thing where it tells us how many people?
No, because this one goes to multiple. This one isn't just to YouTube. It goes to like Twitch and a bunch of other stuff too at the same time. So it doesn't say. Well, yeah, I mean, we could just look it up.
Look it up.
We can do the thing. We could look it up, Jamie.
Yeah, Minnesota was definitely betrayed.
Betrayed by who?
Oh, just by Monster with their alcohol stuff. So.
What the heck, Monster?
No desire to learn anything else. I mean, that's fine.
3 people. That's what we got so far.
Yeah, that's...
It's still early. It's also like a Wednesday night.
Hey, Ollie Boo.
Hey, buddy. Not coming to pee on anything, are you? Oh, just to do your favorite activity.
Yeah.
Pull on the chair.
We're not touching them, though. It's okay. They're just in the background.
Those are props. They're not real at all.
Yeah, they're props. You don't even know. Yeah.
You can tell they're not real at all. I've shot all of them, but they're not real.
Yeah, they're not real, so.
They're not real at all.
Yep. As long as no one's holding them and firing them, it's fine.
As long as they're not being touched, they can technically be considered decorations.
Yes.
2 cats. There you go.
Hey, buddy.
Sometimes he likes to lay up there, too.
I know. He's the reason for all the cat hair on the office chair.
Holy boo. It's a good kitty right there.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, he's at least the OG. He paved the way, so.
He is. When are we going to get 5th cat?
I don't know about that.
Look out the window. Twitch is more okay with rules. It's more YouTube. Pretty much YouTube is the strictest rules on the internet right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess technically what I was going off of is what I've been told about YouTube is, but yeah.
They don't even want you to swear anymore.
Which is just, it's wild. It's ridiculous.
It's like, you remember like the OG days of like 2006 YouTube where you could watch somebody beheaded live on YouTube.
Oh. Well,
and like nowadays you can't do a swear.
It's not that I care about that. It's not that I want to watch people be beheaded or anything, but I feel like that's like super basic censorship of like, man, people can't even swear. Does that mean I shouldn't swear?
No, you can.
Oliver's sitting on the accordion again.
God damn it, Oliver! If you didn't pee on everything, I won't be so worried about it, but... Come here.
Look, he's just shrinking into the box.
Come here. Come here. Careful. No being on the accordion, okay? Because I don't want you to ruin more stuff. You already ruined enough stuff that I'm never going to be able to replace, okay?
I got this really nice... I haven't tried to, like, see the year on it, but, like, it's pretty old because my grandfather played it, accordion from one of my uncles, finally, because I'm, like, one of the only musical people in my family. but like the case it's in is like super musty, so I've been trying to like leave it open to like help air it out a little bit, because I'm sure that that's not good for the accordion either. But I'm gonna learn how to play that. I haven't really looked into the resources I'm going to use yet, but I know that there's stuff. I've seen people play accordion on YouTube, and I know that there's like a Reddit thing for it. I don't really know the difference between an accordion and a concertina, or if there is one or anything, but
it's kind of like the difference between like a bass saxophone and a regular saxophone.
well, that's a lot of difference. So.
Yeah, but like it's like they're saxophones, but
Yeah.
they're also not alike in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Nothing in the computer. 13 certifications. I have a computer. It's right here. It has cat litter on top of it because the cats
does,
like to sit on it. I haven't cleaned it off, but it's a pricey computer and it has lots of cybersecurity stuff in place that I wanted after I nearly got shot by the SWAT team over nothing.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because somebody swatted me and it was not a good day, and they didn't shut my stove off when I was making ramen noodles, and they left my door open to the outside in the middle of February, and my radiator froze.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a good night. I had to go to work. Like by the time it was all said and done, I was able to get like 2 hours of resting, even though it was like before I could go to work. So that was a real shitty day of work after that. I've told it a billion times on the stream, like before, but like yeah, it was. But I bought this computer and I got pretty good parts in it. There's a couple things that I had to like downgrade because it was the height of the inflation for computer parts. So like there's a couple things I want to replace in it eventually, but it works more than well enough for what I need to right now. So I get it, no worries. I get it. It's not the best computer it could be, but it's pretty good. I got to get it off the floor because right now it's sitting on the floor, and so half of its heat ventilation is going right into the carpet, which means it's not venting enough heat.
Yeah.
So like that's why I wanted to get like a desk that had the like hanging thing for it, and one that I could also like stand at as well, like a motorized one.
This one's too tall, all the shelving it has in it, which is annoying because like I found a computer desk for Devin that was going to be perfect for all of his shit, and then he bought it and Amazon sent him the wrong one, and then he kept it instead of like returning it and exchanging it, but it's fine.
But like it wasn't that expensive to begin with. It's only like a $200. It's only a $200 desk.
Well, yeah, but it was gonna be. It was supposed to have all of the pull-out shit and like the low shelves for like computers
and like organizers on the sides and stuff. Yeah, and it didn't have any of that. So like, it's got to get a new one. Yeah.
That'll happen.
Well, at least I work in law enforcement now, and I got approved for a scholarship come this spring to go be to get like a criminal justice degree, but I just one-upped them and went to national security degree because they had enough money to do that. So because that translates into much more things than just criminal justice. So I just went for the full-on national security degree. And so I got to start that here in the spring. And it's all going to be online stuff, which is cool. So that'll be great. Maybe one day I could sign a piece of paper where that'll eventually nuke California. It's a dream. Ollie, did you go under the thing?
No, he's behind you.
Oh. Hey, you. Welcome to my life while I'm just trying to play games.
It's a used chair I think I got for free, so I'm not too concerned about him tearing it up.
That's right. Come here, boo. See, he's not as into it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's
It's fine.
I don't think he's into that.
He just wanted to go towards the door. Ow, this is my leg.
Oh, bye, Alexi.
Yeah, well, it's really late over there for them. So
Yeah.
he's like 6 hours ahead of us, which means it's it's like 7 o'clock here, so it's like 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
7 hours ahead of us, actually. 2 in the morning over there. Hello, lock bars. I just got done reading that book you sent me.
What?
For my birth miss, the history of the M1 Grand, and like pictures and stuff like that. Got done reading it at work the other day because I've been reading it in like 20-minute increments throughout the night, so it took forever. But
he's actually purring, despite if you see that tail wag. Oliver does kind of like flop his tail when he's happy, actually. So I know a lot of times that's like a
say no to
pissy
weapons
thing, like cats will do when they're pissy, but he does it when he's happy. Although that looked a little less happy.
He doesn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, he likes that for about 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's all right. That's how it works. No to weapons. Weapons are great. Use them for everything. Use them to cook food. You drive one every day. You know, like tons of stuff. It's from A to B. It's all about how you implement it. That's right. I wanted to read about, because I want to eventually get an M1 Grand made by one specific company, the International Harvester Company. And
yeah, you've told me about that.
And I want to get one. Future wife, I don't know if that's going to happen.
No, but he's still trying.
I believe she doesn't. I believe.
I also read a book lately, but I think it is a book that most of Devin's followers
I was gonna say a lot of these people
be interested in,
would probably not like.
They wouldn't like it, but I liked it a lot. It was a memoir by a child actor talking about her fairly toxic relationship with her mom, a lot of her child acting stuff, and then how a lot of things ended up turning into some eating disorders that she's dealt with for the majority of her life, and yeah, a lot of stuff. So not really the thing for a lot of people, but it was a really good read. So
for sure, I'm gonna definitely read it. Now there's a copy here. I'm gonna read it.
Yeah, Lockbars will be on for a while.
Yeah, him and his kids, and his kiddos.
Yeah.
He's living in Ohio, the worst state in the union. Well, yeah, that's kind of how the military works. You're supposed to be in shape.
Yeah, you get real fit, and then especially men, like men especially, get real fat after they leave, just because they're used to just being able to like consume just so many calories and not have to like worry about what they're eating. And then, I mean, a lot of times, because even if you don't retire out, even if you're in for a couple contracts, it's like you're still pretty young, and then you get out and you try to eat the same, and
you can't. Your body's so used to.
Yeah, like
and then it just shuts down because you don't have any of that activity anymore.
Yup. It's crazy.
It was like they did a study when we left, because we were one of the last rotations in Afghanistan, about how many calories we consumed. Because like even getting back from combat deployment to just regular still military service, the average consumption rate of calories was 7,500 a day. And people were still losing weight on a combat deployment. And so, like, you're going from eating 7,500 calories a day for a year to now back to, like, the 2,500 calorie diet. Because you're still active, but you're not
as active, and you're not in the sun and sweating everything out.
Yeah, you're not carrying all this stuff. You're not also so stressed beyond all fucking comparison every second of every day, you know. It's just like being tall up there.
Yeah.
But and it's just, so they had to like, they were trying to figure out how they could like wean people off of all of this food they were eating, all these calories they were eating, and it just was something they were trying to experiment with, and it didn't even ever really, I think, turn into anything. But it was just some data they were gathering.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. Like MREs, like one MRE for most people is like the amount of calories you should have in an entire day. Like they're very, very calorie dense, and like especially depending on like which ones you get, it just is. Yeah, there's. Which is why it's always like funny when people like to eat them for like whatever. It's like they're kind of specifically meant for if you're being really active, and usually like if you don't have access to like good food, it's like it's a big reason I think actually now that a lot of people gain weight at basic training now is because for the most part you're having like one MRE a day plus you're having your other 2 meals,
the defect food,
and you might be having more MREs like when you're out in the field for like field portions. And I guess I specifically say this is like Army because I know that not everyone else like does quite the same thing, but like for a lot of ours it's like one MRE a day plus your other 2 meals, and like for the most part, yeah, like you're pretty active, but I think they're seeing an influx of people gaining weight by the end of basic training, and I think that's probably a big reason why.
Well, yeah, because those MREs are what? Because I know they used to be 2,000, and they cut them back by some calories a couple years ago. I think they're like 1,500 or 1,600 now, because a lot of it was where people were eating.
Yeah,
they were like,
eating
one
so
is supposed to
much.
last you a day, but it's like when you're burning that many calories, people were still losing weight. So they cut them back, and then they were like, you could have 2 now, or if you're really calorie deficient, you could go to 3. But it ended up being, and because there's some people that don't like certain things, so they were throwing portions of it away, because they didn't want that, so they weren't actually getting all the calories that were in it. So like they cut them back on calories, and sodium was a big one. The early ones.
I think they still now, instead of like having them quite as like sodium dense, they just have like the salt packets in like the little condiment part. But yeah.
Because I know in like 2012 and 2013 when we would get them, they were like 2,000 calories. Some of them were up to 2,400 calories each, and they were so fucking salty. And I know a lot of people are having trouble with that, and they cut them back in the like mid 2000 teens to be more reasonable because people weren't feeling full enough.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it was just so much sodium and other crap. So, but they still kept all the good flavors at least.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of them that I don't like. I will say cold weather MRE. I don't know if that's necessarily an actual thing. It's not something I've ever seen actually, so I don't really know.
Yes, they still make them, but they really only go to Alaska.
And then as far as quote unquote box chow, we had like a similar thing where like in probably like insulated brown in the Marmites, they would have like sometimes they'd bring warm food out. I don't think we never got those in the field in basic, but we did get them in the field when I was in AIT. But we also ended up falling in with a cook battalion like when I went, so we had actual cooks there. We thought maybe the food would be better. It absolutely wasn't. It was super not good. But like we would have hot food sometimes, but like we never, I don't think we ever really got hot food out into the field, or like maybe we did like one day out of 4 or 5 or something, and it would be like one meal, like not a day. But yeah, no, I've never had a white package one. I did get to see a couple of the like
the humanitarian ones or whatever.
We didn't call them that. Kosher's the word that's coming to mind, but that's not
the
right.
halal ones.
Yeah, we did see the halal ones, and like I don't think I ever really got to eat those. I think I had a couple snacks out of a couple of them, but the big the big complaint with the halal ones is that they're definitely like geared towards like one culture of person, and that's not the only kind of person who wants them, or like they don't necessarily always want like that kind of food when they're eating. So like that was the bigger complaint, is there's like almost no variety in those. There were only like 2 or 3 different halal ones, I think, and one of those was like not at least the woman I know who had them, she was like, yeah, like this specific thing isn't really my favorite, so it kind of sucks that I get it, every 3 times I have an MRE or whatever it was. So
yeah. Well, I know I had the cold weather ones because we cross-trained with the 25th Infantry Division, I think, in the United States, out of Fort Wainwright, Alaska, a lot. And they had the white ones, and the only difference is they're 500 calories more, and their heater is designed to work better in the cold. That's all.
Oh,
You're designed to
sure.
be able to like shovel snow into it rather than having to like
Oh,
pile
like
water into it.
Yeah.
And so it
That's
works
cool.
more efficiently in the cold is all it is. So you get extra calories because of you're burning
Because of
more when
cold.
you're cold, and then you have a heater that works better in the cold.
I'd
That's
be
about
interested to see if the regular ones work better with snow instead of actual water too, because some of those heaters just are like non-starters.
it. Yeah.
Like that was such a thing, and we could never really figure it out. I'd say losing fat and gaining muscle, that's definitely like a guy thing though that'll happen.
That'll just happen.
That's
yeah.
just when you're a young guy. That's
Dude, when you're just that active, it's just going to happen. Yeah.
Army basic training. Okay, I can't speak for every Army thing because I haven't been to Army basic training, and like the thing you'll find is even on the same post, like different battalions will run things differently. But in my experience, we did both. We qualified with iron sights and we qualified with optics. So we had to qualify on both. So I can't say if you generally do one or the other, but I did both. I actually shot better with iron sights, fun fact. But it was a really sunny day when we went out with optics, and the sun was shining like right at us, so I could barely see my dot. But
yeah,
it is
same
what
weapon
it is.
platform though, right?
Yeah.
They didn't make you qualify in a bunch of different ones. Okay, just
No,
all
it was
M4,
the same.
right?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
the same weapon too, because I had my same one the whole time. So it was literally the same weapon too that I put the optic on myself, because they made us do our own mounting, which is fine. It makes sense. It was annoying because different drill sergeants told you different things as far as placement, but it is what it is. I don't care. But yeah, like same weapon and everything, so it's not like something else would have been a factor in there. It was just a really sunny day with the sun in my eyes, and my battery was a little bit dead, so even having the light all the way up, I still could hardly see my dot.
Yep.
And honestly, like my dot too was actually a cluster. I remember it was like a cluster of 3 dots, and it wasn't even like a really perfect like Venn diagram 3 dots. It was like kind of 2 where there was kind of one on the top and one close to it on the side and one like below it, and not really like.
Oh, did you have like a loose lens or something? Probably.
I must have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember I was able to see a couple distinct dots on it, and it wasn't like a really good like, oh, we'll just center it in. But no,
somebody really fucking probably whacked
right.
that thing good. Yeah, and it's just kind of fucked.
Sure,
yeah,
right. Like we get leftovers.
it's the basic training
like,
guns. They're worn out and shit anyways.
Yeah, like when I went, like I even, I had found out that even like the MREs we were eating were super old, because like after I left basic training and went to AIT, like there was a day or two where we ended up with MREs just because like the DFAC was closed for something. And like I remember a couple things like the like those like protein bars and stuff that you get in there, or like the protein like fruit bars and stuff.
Yeah.
I had one, and like for the first time it wasn't like this chewy fucking like, bringing the fillings out of my teeth. Like I could just bite through it and like eat it like normal, and I was like, oh my god, are these always supposed to be like this?
Yeah. It's
So
because they haven't been changing with temperature, because they've been stored wrong for 6 years in a row.
And with all of the movement, but with everyone too, because whatever. And then I had gotten a couple who, or where if you don't know, like the MREs had moved for Tabasco, because there's always the Tabasco in your MRE, and they used to do the glass bottles, and then they moved away from the glass bottles to the packets, because of like litter that like deployed soldiers were like leaving places, because there were like these there were these glass bottles.
The U.S. leaving shit,
right?
Oh,
there were these glass Tabasco bottles that were just being left everywhere, and then I think Devin was telling me that some people were using them as like makeshift like IEDs, so it was like extra shrapnel. And so the U.S. moved away from the glass bottles to these packets, and then like moved back to glass bottles. But like I had gotten, and I almost doubt myself, because I had gotten MREs with glass bottle Tabasco in them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like it can't. They couldn't have been. They couldn't have been that old. There's no way I had an MRE that was that old.
No, you can.
But
their storage life is like 12 to 15 years if you store them right.
So I think I also, like the reason that like the first strike bars and shit were so bad is like because I was literally having
Eating
MREs that still
almost
had the
expired,
glass
yeah.
Tabasco bottles in them. So, I mean, most of it was fine. It was a couple things like that where it's like at that point it's quality of life, but it's also like some of the stuff in there, like sure, the MRE is technically good for 12 to 14 years, but like a package of peanut M&Ms is not good for 14 years, right? Like those expire sooner than 14 years. If you have M&Ms in your cupboard, I'm sure it might be like 3.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a couple
no,
years.
the
but,
candy
you know,
doesn't
like,
last as long as the rest
right,
of the MRE.
like things like that. And then like you think about, you know, like all like the baked goods and stuff in there, which like most of them are good. Honestly, like, you know, you get that lemon poppy seed bread and you're having a good day. But
the thing that always scared me was like the veggie omelet, which is like widely considered the worst MRE ever.
I
It's
was
like,
gonna say,
imagine getting a 15-year-old
right,
veggie omelet, just eggs that have been sitting in this pouch for 15 fucking years, you know, which is the people who's eating it, most of their lifetime, their eggs have been in this pouch, and you're eating that now. So, yeah. And the package just make much more sense because, like, I don't know why they haven't even gone to, because they try to rotate all the MREs within like 3 years now, and they're pretty good about it now that the like global war on terror is actually over and they don't have just a shitload of them laying around.
Classic Army, they're meant to do one thing and then like, do you actually do it? Like,
but like
you put a bunch of fucking privates in charge of something, especially privates who have been in the Army for a day, you know, and expect them to know how to do stuff with zero direction. It's like you're setting yourself up for failure. Like it just is what it is, you know.
But like I'm surprised they haven't gone to like biodegradable plastic for most of their like packages.
I think the harder thing with biodegradable like plastic, because I've seen like a lot of like different things that they're trying to do, is because the shelf life is not that. The shelf life is so much shorter, or when it's biodegradable, if you end up getting it wet, which water damage happens, but that's the bigger thing with because I think I was reading about like it was like the mushroom plastics, because then it's like biodegradable in how many years, but that was the big downfall, is like if it gets wet or if it's in too damp of an environment for too long, it basically just starts disintegrating.
But they can use like a combination, like so that big outer brown pouch can be regular plastic, but all the plastic stuff inside could be biodegradable, you know, and like all of this other stuff they could be doing, or like make them some that are entirely biodegradable, and yes, they have a shorter shelf life, but like use those first, and then you have the ones that have the longer shelf life you can hold on to if you need them for an emergency, you know.
I get it, but it's not practical, and that's like, I feel like it just leaves a lot of extra.
The U.S. doesn't do anything practical anyways, so it's whatever. It's not practical anyways. I mean, it took them 70 fucking years to replace the M16. Thing's been a pile of dog shit since day one, you know, and finally, they're getting rid of it. But like, it's whatever. They need to make some changes about stuff. Like, maybe we don't run every vehicle off jet fuel. Just a thought, you know?
Silly.
Like, let's just run all of the, like, trucks off jet fuel. Because why not? That way we only need to ship one kind of fuel overseas.
Air Force guy leaking stuff? No, say it ain't so. The Air Force fucking up? That's unheard of.
No.
Dude, if you told me someone in the military leaked something, my first guess would be Air Force. Let's be real.
Also, like, if somebody in the military leaks something, good for them. Because, like...
No,
but, like, chances are they don't even have access to anything that really fucking means anything.
Probably not. Like,
and for two, like, who gives a shit? Who are we keeping it from? Russia's falling apart. China can't even make skyscrapers that stand up. Like, honestly, who are we keeping this from? Mexico? Right. Like, what? What are we doing here?
But, no, I was gonna say, amount of 18 to 21-year-olds that are responsible for important things, like, for sure. Like, so I just got back from BLC, which some of you might know as something else that I always forget, or like Devin knows it as sergeant school. Basically, it's the
non-commissioned
military
officer
school,
classification.
that you to go from 4 to 5, so specialist or corporal to sergeant. And like, we had like 3 people in my class who were not even 21 yet, and I was like, how are you here? It's probably they're there because they are E4s, and like, you can go to that even if you're like not in E4 promotable yet. Just it depends on like
just so
funding.
it's out of the way, so
right?
when it
So
becomes
it's just
available,
done, and then when it's available, you can just like move right into it. But like, I had to think for a little bit. I was like, how are you not even 21 years old and you're here? Like, that is wild. Because like we had to talk about, right, like they have to have a talk about like drinking and like whatever, and like literally they made these kids go up to the front of this formation we were in, and they were like, everybody look at these people. It was like 3 or 4 guys, and they were like, you will not buy alcohol for these kids, right? Like, if you buy alcohol for these individuals, you are going home. Also, if these individuals drink alcohol, they will also be going home, but also do not buy them alcohol. Look at them. They're not 21. Don't
That's
do
when you
it.
should be like, we should celebrate this meeting with a drink, and you stand up and
right.
come on, guys. Yeah, and you're like,
but it's, it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like, honestly. So.
Oh, that would have been funny. Somebody's got to have the smart ass in every group. All right,
But
do the thing.
Do the thing, kind of. We're gonna start out. So here's the can. We were talking before. These are not caffeinated. This is not like Four Loko.
Also, we have to say this now because YouTube, this is a registered trademark of Monster. We owe nothing to this company. We're not invested. This is a non-biased. This is a non-biased review of this product. We are not affiliated with this product in any way, shape, or form.
Also, 21 contains alcohol. 21 plus, I guess.
So no children.
So this is Monsters. They're the Beast Unleashed line, which is their alcoholic beverage. It is non-caffeinated. It is approximately 6% alcohol. They have 4 flavors. We're going to start with Mean Green, which all 4 of these flavors are spoofs of one of their energy drinks. So this one is just like the regular Monster that people call Green Monster. Got a cool little story on the back. They're also... it doesn't say it on the can, but they're also 0 sugar. These are made with a mixture of, what's the one I don't like? Erythritol and sucralose, but I think in these ones I don't taste the erythritol as bad as I normally taste erythritol in beverages that have it. Right? And yeah, I think it's because it's the mix. So,
for sure.
Oh, I didn't make the can. They ship us the cans, but I make the beverage.
I'm
so
sure Ball made the cans, right?
Actually, yeah. So this is cool. So this is actually one that was brewed in the brewery that I work at. So.
And show them the recycling symbol, because Monster's all about brand.
Yeah.
It has the little Monster logo in the recycling logo. Yep. Kind of.
I don't know.
You gotta
how
like
to make it
hold
focus.
your hand up behind it. It's like got surface area.
Well, I can't because then it's.
Yeah, the camera's just really weird about the lighting and whatnot and stuff.
But so it's got the little Monster logo in there. I mean, as well as the pupil of the eye, if you didn't notice it. But
gotta have it.
But yeah, and this was, I think it's because Monster Energy turned 21 this past year. I think is why they did it, because that was like the only like marketing I really saw of it was like, guess who's turning 21. So they did like an alcoholic beverage for their 21st birthday. You can fact check me on that because I don't know if it's true, but I think it is based off of the marketing.
But what about all the other countries where you can be much younger and drink?
Well, Monster Energy is based in the U.S., and that's also a fun fact, is the brewery I work at that's been making these is actually where Monster Energy got their start before they were Monster Energy. They were called something else. I don't remember what it was. I'm not that old. I wasn't there at the time. But they were trying to find a brewery because some breweries, like the bigger ones, will do not just like alcoholic stuff, but like we do other energy drinks and whatever, just because it's like the water, the carbonation, the facilities you need to like mix the syrups and mix it all together and then send it to like go get canned and packaged, blah blah blah. We were the first brewery who was like, yes, okay, we'll take your contract. So the brewery I work at is where Monster Energy got their start.
Yeah.
So.
And they make a lot of stuff down there, like a ton of things.
We have contracts.
That kind of looks like dehydrated piss.
Well, actually, what it looks like, this is for any of you Monster drinkers out there. This is it's a dark apple juice color, which is the color of Monster. If you were to pour it out of like the regular can.
Isn't that a thing that's on the pee chart? If your pee looks like apple juice, you're dehydrated.
Yeah. So I guess dehydrated pee. I did not do a very even pour there. That's okay. You're gonna get the more full one.
Why? Why do I need the more full one? And there's no caffeine in these.
Correct.
Like
No
you said.
caffeine.
Okay.
So.
Uppers and downers don't mix, so.
Right. So, it also, like, I know the smell of Monster very well.
It smells like regular Monster, yeah.
I could smell it when I was pouring it, but yeah, it smells almost exactly like regular Monster.
I assume it's just all the same flavoring minus the caffeine and
it
plus
kind
booze,
of
right?
Depends. Well, because that's the other thing is, like, regular Monster has a shit ton of sugar in it. I mean, you can tell because if you look at the back of any can, even like the 12-ounce sleek cans, it's like, it's still like 59% of your daily intake or whatever.
Or is it 59 grams?
It might be 59 grams.
I was gonna
for
say, that sounds
a grand
more
total
correct,
of
yeah.
I think that's the 16-ounce ones have the 59 grams for 119% of your daily recommended sugar intake, because like in a approximately 10,000 gallon batch of Monster, there's about 2,500 pounds of sugar that goes into that.
It's a lot of sugar.
It's a lot of sugar. It is a lot of sugar. It's insane to look at that much sugar.
It's a lot of sugar. It's a ton. It's over a ton.
It's more than that, I think, actually, because I think it gets 3 super sacks plus the pallet. So that's, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of sugar.
That's more than a metric ton. A metric ton is 2,200
Right,
pounds.
like it's literally just like, I mean, not literally, but it's a ton of sugar, so.
It tastes a lot like a regular Monster. It's not as like carbonated as a regular Monster is, but I kind of like that.
Yeah. Regular Monster does have a really, really, really high CO2 point, and Monster is like our one customer that doesn't care if we go over, as long as we don't go like too far over. Like, we have our own metrics, but like it goes a little bit, we can go over what they want it to be. We actually, like, for a long time, which we still have some of these hanging around, is like, so we have these CO2 charts, which is like the PSI and where it intersects with the temperature to see like what the CO2 is at for like that particular drink. And we had a separate chart for Monster basically to like have us go over, and it's like, so why don't you just tell us that you want it higher? Like, you
want extra carbonation.
You can just do that. You can just make that metric there, or you can set your, you know, you can just set your like the variance. You can just make it higher. You can say this to this.
We can do whatever you want.
Right,
yeah.
Like literally we can do whatever you want, but it's okay. So we're gonna set it here, and then you're gonna say we can go. It's fine. It's fine.
I kind of like that it's not as carbonated. It doesn't seem like as intense of a flavor though, but I feel like a lot of that's probably due to the fact that there is extra carbonation.
I also think it's because of like the less sugar, but I will say, barring the fact that there is less sugar, I feel like this tastes
almost
exactly
lot like regular Monster.
Yeah, it doesn't hit you in the face quite as much, but it is definitely the flavor.
I mean, I like it better than the regular Monster. I'd say the flavor is pretty good.
Well, regular Monster is so just like, everything about it is sticky, right? And I mean, I was just like dealing with it the other day anyway, but it's just, this I feel like is less sticky. Like, there's something about Monster that I almost feel like is thick.
It is.
And I feel like the extra carbonation. Ollivander, you be nice to her.
I don't know if, I think he might have been peeing in my room. He's kind of slinking.
I think, well, Willow just walked by, and I think he was going after Willow.
Well, if he does, he got his one yell. The next one is he's going to get beat.
But I feel like the extra carbonation almost like helps mask the fact that it's like so thick from all the sugar or something, right?
Aerates it a bit to keep it from being syrupy.
Yeah.
For sure.
But, I mean, that's one thing I will say, even before I started working there, like, that is definitely, like, I feel like a staple characteristic of a Monster is if anybody in the room cracks it, you can smell the Monster across the room as soon as that thing is open, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just there. So.
I know Gonzalez, who I work with, used to work there as one of the maintenance guys, but in the other building from you. And he was like, I used to drink about 12 of those a day, and I was like, how are you alive? He's like, I used to just grab them right off the line. It's like, just grab them right off the line. He's like, I'm like, how are you alive? He's like, I used to about 12 of them a shift. And I'm like,
it used to be a lot more like that. It's less like that, like just letting people grab stuff off the line because too many people would abuse it. So they're...
True. He was the head maintenance guy for quite a while, though, I guess. Like 4 years there or something.
That's okay. We fired one of our QC people because he was taking stuff off the line. So, which like I mean QC generally can, but it's like he was taking it off the line not to like do QC tests. So he was like taking too much stuff.
He's like, I'm gonna take like 12 of these to like bring home.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're like thirsty and you have one, like yeah. But
yeah. Speaking of red ale, I just picked up a case of the Leinenkugel's red ale, which I think they just released as a seasonal for winter, which is weird because I feel like it's more of a fall drink, but
I would say red
I can see it for winter as well. But their red ale is pretty good. I just had one less than a week ago out at a restaurant because they had just added it to their tap list and I liked it a lot. So I like a good red ale, and we were talking not that long ago about how not enough places do a red ale, and I think it might be because they're not popular, but maybe they're not popular because people don't do that.
Well, it's a more European thing.
Yeah, I like a good red ale. Yeah. I've found that I think a lot of them have like a really good taste,
I agree.
and it's like not as strong as a lot of the like much darker brews, but it's not as lame as like a lot of like
it's not water, but Americans like water.
That's true.
They like their fucking light pilsners that are like 4%. And that's what they drink. So, but like, yeah, there's a lot of good beers out there, and like, there's so many. They're like, there's a brewery that's been continuously open in Germany since 1100. You know, like 1,000 fucking years. These people have been making beer. 1,000. You know, and America's just like, nah, fuck that. We're gonna take Mississippi River water and make it 3%. And here is your Budweiser, sir.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's not great. There's not a lot of flavor there and stuff like that. You can drink a shitload of it. That's the appeal of it. You can drink an asinine amount of it. But it's like, it also is like historically that's what beer was closer to, because yeast wasn't as resilient as what it is now. Like most beer historically, like even going back to like way beyond Roman times, like ancient Egypt, yeast could only get beer to like 2 to 3%, and then it would die off because the alcohol content it wasn't as resilient as it is now. So like that's why people could drink it every day, and that's still what yeast was when America was founded. So like back in like founding fathers, when they were throwing all their like they're like a bunch of 20-year-old frappers, they're like, we should start a country, and they did that, and that's what America is now. And but back then, that's what beer was. It was 2 to 3%, and it didn't really get any higher than that. If you wanted to go higher than that, you had to switch to like spirits.
Another big thing was the water was so contaminated that beer was the only way that you were killing off the shit in the water.
Yes,
like the bacteria that was killing people. So it was like, yeah, you drink beer because you don't die, and if you drink the water, you get really, really sick. And it's like not because it was beer, but it was either through like the pasteurization, like the heating of the water, or sometimes like the alcohol like killing stuff in the beer. And that's why it was like, that's another reason it was like so commonplace for like people to like just only drink and like drink every day.
It also helps if you don't live in Europe, where you can just kind of like drink the water, because also in Europe people are just hucking shit down the wells.
Yeah, well, and that's you know, people like, didn't understand enough, so that was definitely a whole ass thing. But
yeah, so like historically, American beer is closer to what most of humanity drank, because it's meant to be something you drink all day, every day, constantly.
But also we can do so much better, and like, why don't people? I don't know. Like I feel like it's a younger people thing, but I feel like we have so many like different like flavors and options to choose from. Like, why not like try more of those and
branch
like
out a bit.
Just just like enjoy it a little bit, you know? Because that's the other thing. Is like, because I get a lot of shit for like liking IPAs, and it's like, well, yeah, I'm not trying to like, I'm not chugging it, you know.
Have one every now and then.
Yeah, I'll have one here and there. But it's also like, I don't drink it that fast. Like, I'm not going to drink an IPA as fast as I'm going to drink a Miller Lite or anything.
Yeah,
you know, like,
for sure.
I'm not drinking it the same because I don't want to do, you know, a whole lot more of that, because I feel like, I don't know, like, to me at least, I feel like IPAs and gin are like very similar, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's a lot of the same flavor profile.
It's a lot of the same flavor
They're
profile.
heavy flavor-wise, but
But it's because you're
substance-wise.
Yeah, like you're not chugging it, right? Like even as much as like whatever, but like for hard alcohol, it's like yeah, fine. Like some people can like chug a vodka or maybe like a white rum or tequila is a popular one. That's fine. But it's like I'll have my gin. I'm not taking shots of it. I'm gonna make a nice little drink out of it, and then I'm gonna sip it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm just gonna enjoy that for like.
We still gotta try that too. We still gotta try the new gin.
We have a new
can
gin
do that
we
on
have
the
to
stream.
try. We could. We can at the end.
We have tonic water.
We do have tonic water. I put the rest of it in the fridge as well. So.
I mean, I'm not a big IPA person either, but we found some recently that some company was making with Japanese cryo hops, which is where they take hops, because Japan has to do everything fucking perfect because they're all psychopaths. And they would take them and they would flash freeze them with like liquid nitrogen. And it did something to them as when they would age them then in this like frozen state. And it made for a very tasty IPA as somebody who's not like an IPA person.
Flavorful, but not as bitter as they usually are.
Yes.
And that's the thing I'll say is like when I was first introduced to IPAs, I didn't like them, but I also was introduced to like a very IPA-y
very
IPA.
hoppy IPA.
Was like my first one, and that was like a big part of like why I didn't like it, but also just like some of the other like social things, right? Like because social stuff can really kill things for you. But so like I didn't like them at first either, but I have found quite a few good ones, and like I found the first IPA that Devin ever liked. He didn't like IPAs.
The Goose Island, I remember.
Yeah, it was
we
the
had
Goose.
We had it's just the computer.
Yeah, just the monitor went.
But like because we had it when we were hiking in the Scientific Nature Reserve.
No, we didn't do that. Alcohol's not allowed there.
Yeah, it's not allowed there. But we were hiking in the Scientific Nature Reserve behind one of the like county parks. Yeah. It's not a state park. It's a county park. Okay. But it's the Scientific Nature Reserve is owned by the state, but it's you have to get to it through a county park. Yeah. Yes, and we tried it and it was really good.
He really liked it. I think it was technically it was their Christmas IPA.
It was their Christmas IPA because we had it in the spring. It was like we were out there hiking. It was like early May.
Yeah, it was the spring because the snow was still all melty. I think it was like a little muddy in some spots.
A couple patches of snow. Yeah,
but. Teeth shouldn't be currency, okay? That's no.
No, he wants me to explain to you this thing about like how teeth should be currency.
Okay, well, whatever. We're not.
It comes from a thing. It comes from Warhammer.
I mean, I can.
The orcs use teeth as a currency.
I was gonna say I can see it but I can also not see it. So I can see it because it's limited, in the fact that there's only. But are we saying human teeth or any teeth? Because or are these teeth going to be worth different amounts? Because I can go kill a bunch of squirrels and get a couple teeth, but like human teeth are going to be worth more than squirrel teeth.
It's just teeth in general.
Right.
The bigger the
tooth worth the same? So
the bigger the tooth is worth more.
Okay.
The better the condition the tooth is worth more. And so like teeth will eventually just with use like circulation break down and they become less. So it is naturally inflation controlling.
Yeah.
And everybody starts with a whole mouth of resources, obviously the same, and stuff like that. And it actually makes a lot of sense to use teeth as a thing, because if you need something done really quick, you just take some teeth out and here you go. You know, you pay
you can only do that for so long before you have to start killing people.
That's the other thing. It controls the population, and it's just like perfect.
Yeah, but that's also not like necessarily great, because I can see in a society that uses teeth as currency, there's going to be a lot of like very needless killing. We're going to call it needless.
Well, there can still be rules. It's not like an anarchy thing, but like imagine
this is a purge planet.
you start to come of age, your baby teeth fall out. It's worth a shitload of money. You get now, like, that's when you're starting to, like, become an adult. Once all your baby teeth fall out, it's normally, like, 13, 14, your last baby tooth kind of comes out. Now you're, like, getting to the point where a lot of cultures consider you to be adult enough to start kind of making your own decisions. You now have money to, like, start your life and things like that. And then your adult teeth come in. You have those as an emergency and whatever, and yada, yada, this and that. It makes a lot of sense.
It's very finite if we're talking about your own teeth. And that also makes it like not. I feel like there would have to be at least a secondary kind of currency, or probably not even secondary. Teeth would be secondary to something else because of how finite they are.
Well, teeth are just they're a universal currency in like the barter system.
Right.
So like if you don't have something to barter with, you can use teeth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense.
So I'm also
like 2 chickens for 1 goat, or you could do like 1 goat for a chicken and 2 teeth.
2 teeth, that's steep.
That's steep.
That's
yeah.
steep.
You know, okay, maybe a tooth.
2?
Yeah, you know, but like, and then people are also like exchanging teeth if you don't have a lot of resources for things, and
but
yada yada.
You also don't have a lot of teeth, so it's like if you don't have a lot of other resources, but you also don't have very many teeth, like that's a very limited resource. Yeah, and like until you start killing people.
Well, people are gonna die no matter what, but like that's the thing. If like your family member dies with teeth, you just take the teeth out of their head.
Well, that's gonna like
teeth.
You take them, but then how big is your family? Now everyone's gonna be fighting over teeth, and what you just get 4?
Just have more kids,
right? But
there's one thing.
The more kids you have, the more people are gonna be arguing about your teeth.
No, you just have more kids, so
opposite.
then when they grow teeth, you can then take their teeth and murder them, because you could always have more kids.
Like, that's awful, right?
I mean, it's society. Like, here's the thing. If there's anything I know about humans, they're gonna make more people. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You
but
know?
like, you know what I mean?
I mean, look at this. Look at all the huge disasters in human history. We bounce back every time. Humans are always gonna make more humans. You can always make another kid. You know what I mean?
But that's because we're not doing things like killing them for their teeth. If we lived in a society where we
kill them for their teeth.
Where we were killing
that kid
people
better
for their
be
teeth.
fucking best behavior and useful then.
No, but we're gonna we're not gonna have as many people because people are gonna be killing people for their teeth, right? So it's not gonna be. We can't compare the world we live in right now to that world because it's not gonna be the same.
You just have
because
more kids.
We're currently not.
Only 2 of them are gonna like keep living, and the rest of them are.
But you can also only like. There's also kind of like a cap to how many people like can come into the world at any given time, right?
Yeah.
Like. Of course, that cap is going to be much bigger than what it is right now.
Yeah.
But like, you know, there's also that to think about, I guess.
There's a lot of factors. Yeah.
Number 2 is Peach Perfect, which is the spoof for. Most of you know it as Pink Monster. Otherwise, the actual name is Peachy Keen. I have to like remember that people almost exclusively don't call monster flavors by their actual name.
They go by the color.
They go by the color, yes.
The white monster. Yeah.
Right, the white Zero Ultra, the OG.
Yeah, what does the can say?
Right.
So I remember like somebody telling me, because like it was a thing not for a long time. It's a thing in Europe for a long time, but like it was like the Monarch. They call it Monarch over in the UK, but it's the one that has like the butterflies on the can. It's like a tan can, but it has butterflies on it.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's not called the same thing over here, but in Europe it's been Monarch for this.
I was gonna say I don't even know what
that
is.
And I like that one a lot. So.
That was closer.
Yeah, you did better this time.
Mhm.
That's your cup.
Nope.
Ooh. Smells like, you know, like when you open those like artificial peach gummy candies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like overwhelming that.
I think this one also kind of looks like pee.
It does.
Maybe radioactive pee. It's a little bit less fluorescent off the camera. It looks a little bit closer to his, but a little bit
it's
darker.
a little more
it
muted.
just looks like very. It
We
does
have
look like
like
pee.
fluorescent lights in here.
Yeah.
They're not like LEDs or anything. They're actual like fluorescent lights. So the lighting's kind of weird.
So. But yeah, it definitely looks like pee, very yellow.
We're also drinking alcohol. These are 6%.
Correct.
It tastes like those peach gummy candies.
Yeah, it doesn't have as strong of a scent. If you really like smell it, it kind of tastes like peach. I think the peach one is my least favorite. But yeah, it kind of does taste like the peach gummy ring.
It is a very overwhelming like artificial peach taste. Yeah. It's good though. I like peach, but it's very clearly artificial peach taste. Yeah. Which is just something that's in everything nowadays. And I get it. Peaches are good, but it's in fucking everything nowadays.
Yeah. a nutrition or water issue. Just because the other one kind of looks like pee, this one kind of looks like pee, but like both of them not pee that you want to have, right? If your pee does look like that, but
if your pee does look like this, it's gonna be a bit.
Yeah, if you've seen the pee charts of like the different shades of pee and
a lot of these people haven't been in the military. They don't know what a pee chart looks like at every toilet and urinal. Okay.
So that's actually the funny thing is, we were in one of our classes in BLC. Both of my instructors were men, and had made a comment about like the pee charts, and like actually in the female latrine we don't have all of
Why?
those.
They should have them put it right on the back of the door, so when you lock the stall, there it is. You could just stare at it like the men do when they're at the urinal.
There's like one usually in the latrines, but not even all of them. But actually what happens, at least like where we were, is in every female latrine ever, it's just thousands upon thousands of signs to not flush tampons is really what's in there. It's like the entire you're just bombarded, and it's amazing because you know that those signs are only still up because people are still doing it.
Yeah, that's half my job, is pulling tampons and pads out of plumbing.
Yeah,
so you know,
it's wild the fact that like people do that so much, because it's never a thing I've ever done or like thought about doing. But that's what our bathrooms are littered with, is all of these signs to like not flush tampons, literally fucking everywhere. And that's why that, and like we'll have our bigger posters are like the it'll be like a combo poster for like Sharp, Sark, EO, and sometimes something else, but all of the phone numbers and people who are responsible for those programs. So basically the rape and sexual harassment and then equal opportunity programs.
They got those in the men's bathroom too now, which is kind of fucking weird. But like I get it, because it could go both ways. But like it's I will say this: women's bathrooms are much more fucking disgusting.
Yeah, they are. No,
than men's bathrooms are. Like I've walked into a lot of men's bathrooms and they're fucking horrendously disgusting. But then you go, you're like, wow, this is awful. And then you walk into the women's bathroom and it's like, ugh, you know,
having worked as much food service as I have, I know that already.
Yeah,
like
it's
women's
like,
bathrooms
holy
are just gross.
Shit.
But I feel like it's the here's the thing. I feel like the amount of women who are super gross is less, but the women who are super gross are really gross.
Yeah,
but then
and they fucking ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, but then I think more men are
in general gross,
right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of them aren't like super over the top ridiculous gross, but I think a lot of men will be like a little bit gross.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a ton of men that are like, I'm going to use the bathroom, and they're like, oh, I kind of peed a little on the seat. Yeah. Oh well. And then the next dude is like, oh, I kind of peed a little on the seat. But once you get like 12 people deep, there's piss all over the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But
like I fully believe it wasn't one guy, but it was a bunch of men.
Yeah.
Or like one guy kind of pees on the wall a little bit, and like, how did you do that? I don't understand.
Well, sometimes you have to like do a handstand and like there's trick shots, you know. There's like things you have to do.
Exactly.
They just gotta put those little games like for men, like where they have like the little like urinal where you like, and it gives you a score if you like based on how much pee you get onto this one spot, because it's like digital. It tells you your score. That way, that's how you get all the pee in the urinal.
Yeah.
You know. Like there's like these little like fly stickers people have been putting like on the inside of the urinals.
Yeah.
And like men drunk will naturally be like, ha! And they try to drown the fly, not realizing it's like an actual just like lifelike holographic sticker that's taped inside the urinal. Yeah. There's definitely people that are like, it's both sides, so you can't just blame that on women. There's people that definitely are just like fucking crazy, and it's like, no, you can't just do that. Well,
I would say almost especially, because like you mentioned the Iron Man thing, like especially if we're looking at like big physical challenges, because like it's been a bigger thing, at least in like female communities. Like I remember it was several years ago, but like this woman was like on her period and decided to like run a marathon anyway, like without anything. That's her personal choice. Here's the thing: it's getting
It's a natural thing.
No,
no.
But like, I'm speaking.
Okay.
Is she decided not to like wear anything, but here's the thing. It's not getting blood everywhere. It's not a biohazard to anyone else. All she's doing is soaking her own clothes in blood. Here's the thing. Any sort of chafing or whatever that's going to cause is going to be less than if she were wearing a tampon or a pad, because that's like an actual big thing from like marathon runners, is the insane amount of like actually like scarring that a lot of these people will get. Because like when you're talking about marathons, like this is hours of you running and having something like rubbing you in parts. And like women get
26
scars,
fucking miles.
right? Like, women get scars from doing that, and so she was like, yeah, you're gonna have like the extra like moisture and rubbing, that it's gonna be nowhere near the amount as if you're like wearing anything. And it was like, I remember it was like a big controversial thing about like how everybody thought it was all gross or whatever, and they didn't want to see it. And it's like, okay, well ultimately all you have to do is see it, but like it's not really worth like women scarring themselves so you don't have to see it and like be comfortable. Which, a little bit off topic, but like with the whole Iron Man thing, like I could imagine that a lot of those bathrooms are disgusting because of the like anytime you're doing anything like that, you can, I mean, based on statistics, you can assume that a quarter of those women are on their period.
Pretty much, yeah.
Just like statistically.
But it's also like the whole marathons. It's not a new thing. People have been pissing and shitting themselves.
Oh yeah, all
during
the time.
Marathons,
like
for forever.
Men
and
and
so
women
it's like,
both.
yeah,
so
and so like I don't understand why all of a sudden women having your fucking period and getting blood everywhere is more gross than somebody who pissed themselves or shit themselves while they were running. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey boy. This is the best boy we got. Right here.
So closed mouth meows.
He doesn't do open mouth meows.
He does.
Sometimes. He's getting better at it.
Better.
He doesn't do a lot of open mouth meows. But he's the bestest boy we got.
But yeah, it's just a thing, and like it's also a thing where like some people, like regardless of if you're taking pre-workout or not, it's just a thing for some people that like running just like makes you have to go to the bathroom. So like,
well, it's dilating a lot of your blood vessels. There's active ingredients in pre-workout that just dilate your blood vessels, which means shit just goes through your body faster because now everything can move faster because there's more room. It's like going from a 2-lane highway to a 4-lane highway. Shit can just go faster. The flow just goes faster, so you're going to have to pee. And also, that's just how your body removes waste. So if everything's moving through your body faster because your veins and your arteries are dilated, now all of the other stuff you've had throughout your day is also being processed faster throughout your body. You're just going to have to pee. This lady just...
She's just laying in the middle of the
That's
floor.
where the chair was. She likes to lay under this chair. That's her, like, safe space is under this chair, and that's where the chair was. So, like, that's where she lays. It's just,
Lady Lou.
Yeah. She's good when she wants to be, but she's also kind of a bitch. But don't let that fool you. She's not as good as she looks, okay? But yeah. But yeah, so, like, it's like when people say, like, you gotta eat food and drink. Well, actually, one of the best things you can do is, like, actually exercise. Because it dilates your blood vessels and it makes your organs work faster. So your liver can process your blood, process the alcohol out of your blood much quicker.
It also depends on what your definition of best is, because, like, if you want to get drunk faster, don't eat. But also, if you don't eat when you're, like, drinking alcohol, if you do something like drink, like, a really high-proof alcohol, there's not as much stuff for your body to, like, take. So, like, if weight gain is, like, your thing, like, actually drinking hard alcohol and no food is going to be one of the best things, because then your body doesn't have anything to, like, store as fat, and all it can do is, like, process the alcohol. So it, like, depends, right?
Yeah.
So.
But, like, processing alcohol is also a massive fucking strain on your body. Yeah. And, like, you can actually burn calories if you just drink hard alcohol. But the problem is, what people consider hard alcohol is usually riddled with sugar.
Yes.
And, like, tons of other shit.
Right.
So, like, unless you're drinking Everclear.
Yeah.
Which is, like, gas.
Right.
Minus
it's like
the
you have
engine
to be
cleaner.
drinking vodka, but, like, not UV.
Yeah.
Know?
It's got to be stuff that's, like, over 60%.
Yeah.
Or your body's still going to be storing nutrients and crap from that. So.
Yeah. So.
But, like, if you're drinking Everclear, which you can get in every state legally, every night, and that's pretty much straight or just with water. You can just water it down. But, like, stuff that doesn't have a lot of impurities or other stuff mixed in, you can lose weight just by drinking alcohol, because your body is going to be burning I don't think people realize the obscene amount of calories your body burns by processing alcohol. But the problem is, so much beer and other stuff has so many calories in it because it's so sugar riddled and it has so much other stuff in it, you know. So, but if you're drinking, the closer to pure like grain alcohol you're drinking, the more calories you burn.
Yes, we're still in Minnesota. We didn't really celebrate Christmas. The tree you see in the background is Harold.
He's a plastic tree. He's older than I am. He was made in the 80s.
Yeah, Harold is just always there year round. We didn't decorate Harold actually for the holidays. We
could have.
Yeah.
That's Victor's climbing tree. He's right there. He climbs in that, and it falls over.
Yeah. So no, that's just Harold.
I like how Victor's just perfectly in shot, just having a bath.
Devin with an O.
No, I spell it with an I.
Would you have a debate about libertarianism versus conservatism? Gross.
They're almost the same thing. Like, I tell people, like, all the time. He's
not gonna do that.
I'm more of an independent because I don't really affiliate with any party. But like, what would be the point about having a debate between the two though? There's debate because all American political parties are the same thing except for 2 or 3 topics.
I mean, sure, but I mean, like, other than the fact that they're mostly the same, like, they're factually different. Like, there's factual differences. So, like, what's the debate? Trying to say what's better? Because that's a losing battle regardless of where you start.
Well,
like,
it's all a matter of opinion.
Exactly. It's dumb.
The thing. There's nothing to argue because it's whatever your values are.
Right. It depends on what your values are, and, like, that's one of the, I think it's, like, a hard truth that a lot of people have to learn that I think a lot of people don't accept, but, like, I think my life got a lot better when I accepted it, is just that, like, some people's, like, fundamental beliefs and truths and values are just going to be different from yours. And that's okay. Like, sometimes it's shitty because sometimes it's like, oh, well, you're a terrible person because, like, you don't believe humans should have rights and I do, or, like, whatever it is, but it's like, you just have to believe that, like, or you just have to accept that, like, sometimes people are different, you know?
People
and
can
it's
have
like,
different opinions, and you can still live together. You can still get along. Like, everybody, the whole thing has been this echo chamber. If anybody's got anything different, they can't have that in their lives.
What do you mean define what is true? That doesn't make any sense. Define what is true and not what is a subjective opinion? That doesn't make any sense. Like, those are two, like, established things. Yeah. This isn't, like,
a fact is a fact and an opinion's an opinion.
Right. Like, this isn't comparing 2 beers where you can debate what one is better. Like, these are 2 established political parties that already have, like, the rules set of, like, what aligns that. So... Yeah.
It's all a matter of subjective opinion.
Well, sure, morality is objective, but that's not... what it is. Like, are you saying which one you think society should be? Because then also that's only 2 options, and, like, that's very limited, and that's not how you should run that, like, because of what society was like. Those are, like, different things, though, like.
But it also depends on a ton of things. Like, I don't value human life a lot. It's no different than trees or grass or animals or whatever. I don't care. Human life only has this extra value because we deemed it so. It shouldn't be that way. It's whatever. You can always make more people, just like we could always make more cows. You could always grow more trees. You do whatever. Doesn't matter. But, like, it's just shit that doesn't matter. It's all a matter of subjective opinion, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And it's whatever you think is best for you in the end. And that's how you should vote accordingly. Okay? Whatever you think's best for you. Not whatever your parents decided they want to be a part of, because a lot of our parents and grandparents are very fucking uneducated when it comes to politics. You look at it. It's a good thing that's sugar free.
I was gonna say, I think the fill weight on that one is a little off.
But but it's all a matter of opinion. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It really doesn't. Oh.
Talking private. Yeah, because you realized what a ridiculous question.
Sorry,
not that it's a ridiculous question. It's just an incomplete question.
I wouldn't say that. It's an uninformed question.
No, I'm gonna say incomplete because they're saying debating these two things and then talking about how, like, what society it results in, right? So it's like it's not fleshed out enough.
Yeah,
To
it's
have
an
what they
uninformed
want,
question.
but...
You're missing some things. You're missing a lot of the broad spectrum points, which in the end it doesn't really matter because it's all what do you believe in, and then you vote based on your beliefs, not anyone else's. Nobody else's opinion matters. You vote according to you, and that's how every election should go. Who appeals to the most of your beliefs, and go from there. So that smells actually pretty good. And this one doesn't look like piss. Yeah. I mean, I guess it could technically look like piss, but
we're gonna take a pause, get right back to that. This is a little bit more red than it looks on screen.
I mean, we shouldn't get back to that. I said we're not going to talk about
politics. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we're not going to talk about politics.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, well, okay, I'll say this. The idea that you're going into this already thinking that the other person is wrong, so that's going to be the downfall of any sort of debate, is when you go into it with the intention of changing the other person's mind, you have already failed.
Yeah.
Because you're not open yourself, and now you're going to start this conversation as somebody who is waiting to speak instead of somebody who is ready to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's going to be, like, one of the biggest fallacies there, and your entire point into having a quote-unquote debate is to educate Devin and try to change his mind. You can't do that. That's not a debate, right? So call it what it is. It's an attempted conversion at that point. Which you can have opinions about that phrase, but if that's what you're doing, you're not doing this to listen to him and see how he feels, but it's going to be borderline a manipulation tactic.
It's trying to force an opinion on somebody.
So,
but in the end, it's all. Politics is one of the things where everybody's right to a degree. You should come in with an open mind. Because everybody's going based on what they believe in. And that's what politics is. It's just like there's no religion that's wrong.
There's just different beliefs.
Just different beliefs, you know? But also, like, I'm all for, as a political person, as a person who's worked for the government and believes in the separation of church and state, I firmly believe if we're going to be invading other countries in war, we should just murder all of them and start putting McDonald's and Coca-Cola plants up, and then they should become another state. Like, that's how it should be, you know? Like, because I also don't value human life. Like, you decided to go to war with us? Well, it looks like we're going to free the shit out of you and take all of your oil because our car likes that for food, and I hope you like McDonald's that serves falafel. And
I would so be down to try McDonald's falafel, though.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then, okay, Iraq, you're going to be the 51st state. Welcome.
Right.
You know, and you give them all the rights, you know? You make them full citizens after you kill the vast majority of them.
No, we had a fun topic, was that we can keep 50 states, but what we should do is make North and South Dakota, and then put Washington, D.C. into one of the neighboring states. Well, that's not
Maryland,
related. It doesn't, right? Yeah. So just Washington, D.C. is part of Maryland, which doesn't actually, like, change this. And then West Virginia and Virginia become one again. Mm-hmm. And then we add Puerto Rico and Guam, so we're still at 50.
Well, we should also just combine the Carolinas and take the Philippines.
We could do that too, yeah. It was...
Because they're our protectorates anyways. Those are all three of our protectorates. So, and then we don't even need to change a flag. Yeah. It's all good.
Oh, but then there's, like, the Virgin Islands, though. So
who else? The U.S. Virgin Islands?
Yeah. Who else can we smush together to keep it 50?
That's a good question. What do we got that we can smash together? I'm trying to think of, like, what all the old U.S. territories used to be that we could smash together.
Honestly, let's just put Vermont and New Hampshire together.
We could.
They're small enough,
or we could just dissolve Rhode Island because it's only like 80 square miles.
That was going to be my other one. Rhode Island can just go be a part of something else. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we can have the Virgin Islands as a state.
For sure. So, like, we have options here, you know? Yeah. And, but, like, I understand it's because West Virginia didn't like slaves. That's why they broke away from Virginia.
Yeah,
You know,
which
like
is
the
fair.
Civil War.
But you know what? We're
Yeah.
over that now. We can be
Yeah.
friends again.
That's
so.
right. We still hate black people, but for different reasons. You know, and it's like because America's racist. They're never not going to be racist. But like, I've also argued like racism's a good thing because it creates competition, and that way, you know.
We're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
This is funny. These are funny. These are funny. But yeah, Devin spells his name with an I.
Yes.
It's like Kevin, but with a D.
That's right. I spell it like how you pronounce it.
How?
It's not Devon.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I'm not like the basketball player Devon White. I'm Devin. Right. Yeah, like how you pronounce it.
Maximus says hello. We
hello,
say
sir.
hello back.
Maximus is cool, so I don't know if you know who Maximus is.
I don't think I do.
Maximus is this cool guy that teaches history about weapons and stuff like that.
Oh,
He's from
okay.
Canada.
That's fun.
He has the coolest arm tattoo.
Yeah.
I've ever seen. It's got like maple leaves and shit. It's the most Canadian like military tattoo I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's a super cool guy.
And no freedom of speech.
Hey, shush. Maximus is a cool guy. As a former Canadian.
Yeah.
Okay. Maximus is awesome. He's a great dude. He's
he
Maximus
is
not really cool.
He says he's not cool.
Okay, and the same reason that I'm not cool because I'm a nerd. But Maximus is a nerd, and he knows a lot about like tanks and like vehicles because he's like in the military still, but like as like an artillery scout or like a cav scout or something like that. And it's like he knows a lot about like big weapons. I was just a mud cruncher. Yeah. Like a fucking infantryman. But like Maximus is cool shit. He's a good guy. So
what are you looking for?
He probably just wedged something under here.
He's
got like 18 fucking toys wedged under there all the time. But like, yeah. I was just telling her that earlier. Like,
no, looking at this, would you be able to take this middle shelf off, take the bottom shelf off, put the middle shelf on
no, because it's too wide.
Oh, it's too wide. Okay.
It's too wide. I thought about it. But yeah, Maximus is a cool guy. Cool guy. He's just a very humble, very stereotypically nice Canadian.
The country
dude.
prevents you too, man. It's not just the job; it's the country. Like Canada doesn't have freedom of speech.
Canada's the better part of North America.
Yeah, but they don't have freedom of speech. That's fine.
You know, and well, they don't have a lot of rights, but they also have a lot more rights in a lot of ways. It's once again, it's one of those matter of opinion type things. But like, Maximus is a fucking awesome, good dude. So, you know, and
that's cool.
I'm glad he likes it because I watch a lot of the shit on his channel because I was never a guy that was like into tanks because I get so motion sick. In like tanks and planes and like boats and stuff like that. It's like I'm so glad that he does all the like cool videos and stuff that like I couldn't experience without like being awfully ill, you know. Yeah. And just to learn a lot. He's just a really cool dude, and he has got a really awesome tattoo. So.
Yeah. But, so we haven't talked about this since I poured it. So, this is the red one. It's the spoof of
Scary
the
Berry.
red can monster, or that's going to be... Is it ultra red? Is what they call it? That's actually a good question.
I think it is the red version.
Yeah, I think it's ultra red. Which is actually, if you didn't know, it's actually a raspberry flavor.
It's generic berry,
Fun
pretty
fact.
much. Yeah.
But, yeah.
Maximus would like to buy a Mosin. I have 2 Mosins. They're both finished. They're both finished Mosins.
Those are decorative.
One's an M39 and one is an M24 Mosin, which is a pretty rare Mosin. So they're both... Right, I'll go in front. That one right there is the M39, and this one next to it is the M24 Mosin. 762 by 54 is what I believe you're trying to say. 54 rimmed is what the Mosin shoots, and it is getting pricey. I remember when a 20 round box of 762 by 54R was only $6 because it was only a couple years ago, and now it's a lot.
The 4 and the 9 are really close on the keyboards. So.
The best Mosin you can get. Don't make fun of Maximus. He's a legend, okay?
Yeah,
he's also
4 and 9.
He's also much more famous than I am, okay? Really? So like, shh. But Maximus is good shit. He's a great fucking dude. He's a great dude. I can never badmouth him. I can badmouth a lot of YouTubers, but Maximus is just he's very stereotypical. He's a very wholesome, friendly guy. But if you're looking for a Mosin, the best one you can get is a Finnish M2830 or a Finnish M39. So if you can get one, Maximus, those are the two I would recommend you buy. I have videos on both of them. They are absolutely fantastic. The Mosin's one of my favorite rifles, and I will tell you anything you need to know, or if you need help trying to figure out if one's a good deal or not. I'm more than happy to help you because it's one of my favorite rifles by a lot. It is the single most mass-produced weapon by any government in history by tens of millions. There is, so by government arsenals, because there wasn't any commercial Mosins made, they made 39 million Mosins. Okay? The AK and the M16 haven't even caught up close to that as far as made by government arsenals. So, like, that's actual military ones, not counting civilian ones. The AK and the AR are not even remotely close to how many Mosins have ever been made. It's the single most mass-produced weapon. Not just, like, we're counting swords, even. Like, back in the Roman times. Swords and everything. It is the single most mass-produced weapon in world history, is the Mosin, by tens of millions. Okay? And it's a great weapon in the grand scheme of things. It's not perfect by any means, but it's fantastic, just knowing that piece of history. So if you want to know anything about it, I'll tell you all you want to know about any Mosin you can find and how cool they are. And like the first caribou I ever shot, I shot with a Mosin. So I shot it with it was a Finnish M27 Mosin. I shot my very first caribou with a Mosin. So it's a great gun. There's so many different bullet weights out there and everything for that, and it's a great hunting rifle in general. They're very easy to do maintenance on. There's tons of parts out there. It's just an overall really, really good gun. So I don't think you shot. Have you shot any of my guns? I don't think you shot any of those guns back there.
Oh, the ones back there, probably not. I was gonna say, I think the last one of your guns I shot was the
SIG, right?
Oh, I guess I did shoot the SIG. I also shot the what was that one? The like 12-pound trigger, and that you had to like make ammo for.
Oh, the Wurndl.
The Wurndl.
Yes,
there we go.
Which is this one right here with the big sword on it.
Okay.
The 20-inch
I
sword.
did. Yeah,
that's
so
the
I did
Wurndl.
shoot one. So I did shoot the Wurndl. That was a good time. We have a video of that. It's hiding somewhere in the Discord, but I have it saved as well.
The Glock .1.
Yeah. That was good. I used 2 fingers to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah.
I didn't jerk as much as my brother did when he shot it.
So. It's a 19.5-pound trigger pull. It's a black powder.
19.5? Gosh, I was way off with 12.
Yeah, it's up there. It took me 2 trigger pull weight gauges because I maxed out 1. It takes 2 to physically register what the triggers. Oh, the new American Civil War movie. Have you seen the trailer for that?
We weren't talking about that at all.
But Maximus wants to know about it. But
oh, come on. He's just gonna hijack the conversation in a different way.
Well, I watched the trailer for it, and overall it looks kind of like just some like mediocre whatever war movie. But one part that really gets me is there's it's a group of people just trying to survive through this like new American Civil War, like if it happened today, and it's a guy in like army camouflage, but he's got a pair of like red sunglasses on.
Okay.
Like red lenses and red like clear plastic frames like see-through. And he's like, what are you? And this like woman goes, she's like, we're Americans. And he goes, what kind of American? And I was like, oh my God, we're almost there.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, that's what really resonated with me, where the guy's like, what kind of American are you? So, and I was like, oh fuck, we're so close to that. And like the picture, the like poster for the movie is it's 2 snipers up on the torch of the Statue of Liberty. Yeah. There's like sandbags around it, and it's like, oh, we're so fucking close to that. Nick Offerman's the president in that movie.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That could happen.
Apparently he's an absolute fucking asshole. But
well, that seems less likely. That seems like people just
that seems less likely. Nick Offerman's just like a guy who likes to touch wood.
Well, I was gonna say, like, he seems like a guy who too many people associate him with his most popular role and just assume that's his whole personality. Yeah.
No, he's a very awesome
He's
dude.
very much not.
He doesn't like people. He just
Yeah.
likes to work in his wood shop. He's got a big wood shop. He makes chairs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude. But like, yeah, I saw the trailer for that. And it's one of the movies. It's like I want to watch the new Napoleon movie, even though a lot of people don't like it. Just to see it because Ridley Scott directed it and Joaquin Phoenix is Napoleon.
Yeah. I will say it's always funny when like people make comments about like American public school because like so much of that stuff is gonna like vary like state to state and then even within that district.
There's states that don't teach evolution still. Like,
well, exactly, right? So like we have, you know, like there's so many programs that are like different from state to state, and so it's like really funny when people try to like generalize that, but also like I think a lot of people, which like not saying that you specifically or anything are this kind of person, but like I know how much the average person paid attention in my classes, right? Like, I see people who I know that I took classes with, and they're like, why didn't we learn about this? And it's like, well, we fucking did, but you didn't pay attention, right? Where it's like, well, that was an elective, and you chose not to take it, so, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it was offered, you know? And it's like, I had that at my last military school, where people were like, constantly like asking about like what we were supposed to do for like different projects and papers and like whatever, and like I felt
just
like I always had the answer.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, are you sure? Or like, oh, how do you know that? And it's like, well, I paid attention, and like I remember being in the same class that you were in, so I don't know why I have this information and you don't, right? Like the only difference is like paying attention, retaining information, and like sometimes taking notes. But like specific things I was like, no, I know this is the case, and it's because I remember it happening, and then
I
also
wrote it down.
I wrote it down. Yep. And it's like I can show you exactly in my notebook where I wrote it down, and I will bring my notebook to you before I open it, so you know I'm not bullshitting you. Like, so I think a lot of times when people are like, oh, why didn't we learn about this? It's like, either you didn't take the right elective, you forgot, you didn't pay attention, or, you know, it's like a variation of one of those things. Or like, and I get it, like not everyone wants to do the school thing. I was the nerd who like in like English classes, like they'd give you that big old textbook and you'd read a couple stories out of it.
And it was a waste of time. You just had to carry it around. Yeah.
I was the kid who read the rest of the textbook. I was interested in the rest of the stories.
From the 70s, when the Soviet Union and Yugoslavia was still a thing.
Which, maybe it's different for some of these, but like almost every single English textbook I ever had, where it's got, you know, like the stories, and then it's got kind of like the post-story, it's got all these like different questions and activities. Almost all of them had a unit in them that was like based off of like Greek mythology or Roman history or like some sort of like Near Eastern
mythology
something.
Type thing, yeah.
And I read all of them, which like granted is me being fucking me, because that's the kind of person I am, but it's like a lot of it was there. It just, you know, if you didn't do it, didn't pay attention, weren't able to take electives, you know, like whatever, it just if you didn't, you didn't. But like, and maybe school district to school district, but like, I mean, I remember even my first world history class, like the majority of that focus was on like 19th and 18th through 20th century like war stuff. Like it was, I don't want to say it wasn't a history class, because it was a history class, but we focused so much on like the politics of different leaders and how that led to war and how that ended up with 100 different cities named Alexandria, and you know, like all of this stuff.
Well, if you're only doing 17th century, like Alexandria lived a lot before that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know, it's like it's, you know, like all of these things, like there was it felt like a military politics class.
That's
more
all
than
history
world
class is. It's all remembering dates and what battles were where. Yeah.
Exactly. At the same time, like that is so much of our world history, is like all of this stuff. So it's like, you know, like,
I mean, sure, wars shape the borders for the most part, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just it's the military politics of everything and all of the movement in between. It's not just war, it's like everything else that happens, you know? But
I get it, but like, and Matt Smith's got it right. What kind of American are you? North American. The best America.
Right.
That's right. Take that, South America. Eat shit. Build the wall! I'm just kidding. Don't do that. So it doesn't do anything. People have ladders. It's been around for a while. So,
Yeah. I mean, most states have a state plan. It's just like the way that you break out of that is what you do in your electives, which like if you screwed off and like took gym for electives or like just took study halls, that's fine. And like I, took a lot of electives because like I got my AA degree in high school. Technically, since the college graduation date was before my high school graduation date, technically I got my AA before I graduated high school, but like that's being an ass about the whole thing.
Yeah. Being pompous.
Right. So it's it's just a thing, but like that's the kind of person I am, and like that's the sort of thing that like comes up a lot when talking about stuff like this, where it's like if you have like that passion for like pursuit of knowledge, you will find knowledge. And if you don't, you won't, and it's like, I don't know, it's like, I know a lot of people who are like, oh no, I like learning things. And it's like, okay, well, when's the last time you just like Googled something you were curious about?
Every day.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of these people are like, what? Like, yeah, never? Right? It's like, like maybe you'll Google like an answer or like whatever, but it's like, no, like I'll Google stuff and then I'll get into like a whole deep dive about it, and it's like, like
I learned so much stuff just Googling every day. I get it.
Right.
I'm glad you're smart because I got educated in such a small school. I'm lucky I could fucking read.
Right.
But like, yeah, there's so many nuances when it comes to the education. And it's like ultimately, if you don't have the passion to learn or want to learn, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So it's just, like I've had a lot of people who it's like when it either comes to like trivia, because I do bar trivia a lot, so it's either when it comes to trivia or like even like game shows, like when you're watching like a trivia based game show. I've had so many friends who are like, how do you know all that stuff? Or like they'll ask like random questions, like somebody like asked me if an olive was a vegetable, and I was like, no, it's a fruit. It grows on a vine just like a grape does. So a grape is a fruit and olive is a fruit, right? Just like random shit like that.
But grapes don't grow on trees. Olives grow on trees.
Right.
And like a banana is technically a berry.
Yeah, like whatever. You get all this like random shit, and like people are, how do you know that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just was curious one day. It's like either I had a thought or something came up, and I was like, well, that seems weird, and it's like, it just...
Well, a lot of it is like something I'm like, that doesn't seem quite right, and I Google it to get my own opinion on it.
Yeah.
But like, Maximus says a thing, he wants to talk about the Falklands too, which, do you know about the first Falklands War? You should mansplain the first Falklands War to everybody.
I was gonna say, don't ask me.
Come on now, mansplain the first Falklands War.
I'm not doing that.
It's great. It's between Argentina and the UK. I'll let you... Margaret Thatcher, she was pretty big in that. Oh, this one I'm going to like, because that's my favorite flavor of regular one.
I think it's my favorite.
Yeah.
This is a White Haze. It is a spoof for White Can Monster, or
the best monster.
Zero Ultra. That is kind of their OG flagship zero sugar monster. But yeah, it's the White Can one. They put it in a white can.
For sure. You pour that. I got to go to the bathroom.
This
but
one
then
is... She full.
That's very full. You're getting your money's worth. But like, you got to also...
I can't do... I don't
mansplain
know
the
enough about
Falklands
it.
War.
I can't mansplain something I don't know anything about. Or does that mean that I can adequately mansplain it because I don't know shit about it?
I just want to hear your like definition of what the Falklands War was.
I literally have to like go Google it, right?
Oh, come on now. I believe in you.
You shouldn't.
What do you know about Margaret Thatcher?
Not enough.
Aw, she's great. You'd love her. She's a very good like woman world leader. She's great.
I can't do... I always flop when you leave me alone.
Okay, here, I'll be back in a second.
I never know what to talk about. It's like I could be talking about stuff and then Devin leaves and I'm like, I don't know anything. I can't even continue talking about what I was talking about, so... I'll just like catch up on the chat a little bit. Oh, there's Victor Boy. Falklands 2, Maldives are bust. We do dual enrollment. Well, an issue with you? That sounds like you weren't being a good student if there was an issue with you. Like, what? I mean, I guess I don't even remember how it was with our... Like, I'm sure you had to have a certain... I don't even think they required you to have a certain GPA. You just had to, like... be at a certain point in like your credits, right? So it was like if you had room in your schedule to take electives when I was in high school, they basically offered like those college classes like as electives, and then my school, because we didn't do whatever like the secondary enrollment thing was, like everyone like stayed on the high school campus, which like the thing they liked about it the most was like then this high school still got funding, so it was either like some of our teachers got accredited to like teach college courses, some of them were like ITV, so it was basically like kind of before Zoom was a thing, it was basically just like a Zoom call that like the college teacher like on the college campus would do, and then like we would like Zoom call in our classroom, and some of them had like different ones. So we'd do like the ITV, or some of the, if it was like a college class online, and then we had like we'd take like an extra period in our schedule, like a study hall, and then we'd work on it like during that time. So it was like, I guess it was dual enrollment, but it's not like we weren't going like post-secondary like technically, but our school really figured out how to do it like the smartest way that like worked the best for the student too. So that helped a lot.
History of the Falkland Islands, go.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have any desire to find the truth about stuff. I mean, that phrase gives me a lot of ick. It's not necessarily the truth about stuff. It's just, I'm not really talking about truth behind things. I'm not like, we were joking about the moon landing before, but I'm still.
But like ignorance is bliss is also a real thing. Like some people just don't want to know stuff because
it's easier.
They don't
it's
care.
Just easier not to know things.
It's
a lot of
easier
times,
to not care.
It's just that's not who I am. I love learning stuff, so that's definitely me. Don't sip without him. Sorry, I already sipped without you.
That's
did
all right.
you take your first sip
I
yet?
did. I had my sip.
How do you feel
just
about
like
it?
the regular like lemon lime Monster Ultra. So, but like
citrus. I wouldn't say lemon lime. I'd say it's
get very citrusy,
but...
which is like the generic lemon lime basically.
Yeah, he left a pee.
All right, explain the history of the Falkland Islands. Go.
No.
Okay. Do you want to learn about them?
Chill. I'm not R-worded. Should have test done. Oh, I had tests done, and I have a good IQ above average. I always trust when people tell me things like that. Educate you about West Point. Well, I'm not going to do that because we're going to Google the same thing, and you're going to find the same information as me. So I don't have off the cuff history of West Point.
Oh, I do. I've got both the Falklands and West Point.
What they're to learn about how Americans formed in the history around West Point. Well, that's cool. Why would I educate you on West Point if you already like have a good working knowledge of West Point? That doesn't make any sense. Maximus
might not actually know much about West Point.
A convo about feminism. Like, no, I don't want to do that. Especially
women are people and they have rights. That's how feminism works. Sorry.
I already feel like you're gonna have a lot of misconceptions, and then I'm gonna correct you on your misconceptions, and you're going to tell me that that's not the way that somebody else explained it, and you're going to just like roll with their way. And then also this is going to like turn into a thing I don't want it to be,
and it probably won't go the way you go, because I actually believe in a lot of women having a lot of rights. Yeah. Like
if you don't know, like Devin is very much like he's a devil's advocate like sort of person.
I like to argue for the sake of arguing.
Yeah,
I know both points and we'll argue both points.
I have to yell at him a lot because we'll be talking about things and he'll like go away the other way, and I'm like, okay, well, like, that's not what's happening, or that's not what I mean, and he's like, yeah,
I know,
right.
But I'm just arguing because it might make you think outside the box.
He's arguing for the sake of being an ass half the time, right? Because
it can be both.
Right, exactly. So he just likes to argue, even if it's like, I don't know, even if it's like a specific situation that is like relevant to like me or him, and we're like talking about a thing, and he'll be like, well, that was it, and I'm like, okay, well, no, and he's like, well, you're right, like,
but what about this? Yeah.
Not really. I hate when he does that. He knows I hate when I do that, especially when it's like specific things that we're talking about. It's like, this isn't debates about the philosophy of like whoever, what the fuck, or anything. This is like, okay, like this fucking thing just happened with my mom, right? And he'll like do some stupid shit, and I'm like, no, but like this, and he's like, yeah, I know.
But it's like sometimes I do it a lot for a lot of people, and granted, you're very smart, which is why it doesn't work anymore. But I do it to a lot of people, and it just makes them take a step back and look at a bigger picture,
Yeah.
which means they could oftentimes come to a better resolution than when they initially went into it with the headspace they did.
Yeah,
So,
which is fair.
Yeah. But, like, do you want to learn about the Falklands in West Point?
I have zero issue with Maximus. It was with Cyber Andy that I'm kind of annoyed with already. Because, well, okay, so Maximus, you got on after Cyber Andy was talking about having a debate with Devin, but this debate was not a debate, which he fully admitted wasn't a debate. It was supposed to be a conversation where Cyber Andy listens to Devin and then just, like, tries to convince him that he's wrong, right? Which isn't a debate, which is part of what I was talking about and how it's like, that's not how you go into a debate. And he was like, well, maybe debate's the wrong word. I just want to hear him out and then, like, try to change his mind. And it's like, okay, well, like, no? Question mark?
I'm not going to change my mind. I believe in what I believe in. Yeah.
And so already just kind of like that sort of like style of like doing things is like not going to be a person that I'm going to be very open to. But like for most people, that's not going to be the kind of person that you're open to. It's somebody who's like, well, you're wrong and let me tell you why. Right?
Yeah.
Like any sort of core fundamental belief you have, if somebody approaches you that way, you're going to immediately be closed off. Just anybody is, okay? Anybody who's saying that they're going to be open to that sort of person is lying, right? You're lying because you're that sort of person and you're trying to get somebody else to think that it's a good idea, right? That's the only time that that's going to happen, right?
Like,
but that's not a debate, Cyber Andy.
That's not a debate.
That's not what a debate is.
That's
a debate
forcing
is not
an opinion.
Right? That's forcing an opinion. And that's my point, is if you're going into a debate and the only point of a debate is to... Right, we had come past that, and then Maximus brought it back up, and now you still have the same feelings. It's okay.
It's okay.
Like,
we could just stop.
Yeah,
but, like,
okay. We're not talking. But
like,
Maximus, no, but Cyber Andy, yes. Right? Like, that's how we're feeling. I didn't say you were a liar.
We're done. Everybody's cool. That's why I made a rule, but we don't talk about politics on the channel.
Well, we weren't. We were talking about theoretical politics.
Which is the same thing. No politics. You said politics is... Theoretical politics is still politics. But, like...
Okay, well, he said don't call me a liar. I never called him a liar.
You never did. That's true. But, like, in the end, it's like, I believe in what I believe in. I'm open-minded. I'm always willing to admit I'm wrong and apologize and take a step back and look at the big picture from somebody else's opinion. Because it means I can argue about it later.
It's not what a debate is.
Yeah, but, like, it's a ton of stuff, you know? All this other stuff.
That's incorrect, but that's okay.
But, like, it's just... Everyone can believe what they want to believe. And it takes a long time to get back to that. Keto diet. You don't need to be on a keto diet. You're already built, Maximus. I already wish I was, like, as built as you are. I'm, like, 150 pounds of scrawny run forever on nothing. Yeah. Unfortunately. But, like,
do you actually do it, or are you one of those keto people who's, like, keto, like, 90% of the time? Which, like, if you're only keto 90% of the time, it means you're not actually keto, and, like, you're probably not in ketosis if you think you are. Because I know a lot of people, like, no offense if you, like, actually follow it. I know a lot of people who are like, oh, yeah, I'm keto, and then they'll, like, eat this, like, non-keto stuff, and they're like, oh, yeah, like, no, it's fine. And it's like, no, keto is the one diet where you are not allowed to have a cheat day. You're not allowed to, like, have things that aren't keto. Because the whole point of keto is, like, being in ketosis and, like, having that thing. And if you're not...
That's him.
Well, is that him right now, or is that him 2 years ago?
No, that's him, like, a while ago.
Like
that's,
a week ago?
Maximus.
Or...
And Maximus is just... He's a pretty built dude.
No, I get it. I see it, but I'm like, is that him, like recently, or, like, even a year
probably
ago?
within the last couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the last couple... That could...
Maximus has been making YouTube for a long time, okay?
You can gain a lot of weight in a couple years. It's fine, but...
No, Maximus is a pretty put together dude.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just, like, the thing that I see, like, especially with, like, people with, like, keto is, like, there's that, is people don't actually do the keto diet, so, like, really what a lot of people are doing is eating a diet really high in fat, because they're not following keto, so, like, their body isn't in ketosis.
Yeah.
The other thing that's, like, really fun is that, like, they've done studies on, like, the initial, like, thing of, like, keto, which is, that's funny that you just talk about your weight loss, because a cool thing, which, like, so Devin just showed me a picture of you, so, like, that's a little bit different, like, you still look really fit.
Maximus is a big dude, yeah.
But,
he's a big dude. He's way bigger than I am. He's probably twice my size almost.
a big thing that I've noticed in like keto diets is that the reason that people see so much weight loss up front is because when you're trying to do, well, yes, anything high in fat is keto, lol. Is that when people try to do keto, like what happens is the reason that they have so much success with weight loss in the first couple months is actually because they're like losing muscle. Because instead of going into ketosis and having your body burn fat like it's supposed to, what your body ends up doing is eating all of your muscle away.
Because fat is the last thing your body will process.
Which, if you know, like, that's what your body is, like, generally going to do. So it's like, and your muscle is dense, right? So you don't maybe necessarily see a whole bunch of that, but, like, and they've done studies with this, like, over, you know, it's the initial time, because that's when people see that big weight loss. So, like, they'll look at people in, like, the first 3 months, and they'll see that people at the end of those 3 months can lift significantly less, and like all of these other factors, like showing that like they've lost muscle, and the reason that they've lost so much weight is because they lose muscle. And the big thing is that a lot of people don't notice that they've lost muscle because you lose the muscles you don't use a lot, right? So you might not be losing in your biceps, but you might start losing a little upper ab, and you might start losing a little, you know, a little bit around your forearms, and like a little bit on your back, right? It's these muscles that you don't use like every single day, or like in, you know, whatever it is that you don't use every day. Because I use a lot of forearm muscle in my like.
Well, it's a lot of the muscles that your body uses to like work your lungs and your heart and stuff. So, stuff you don't see, the stuff that you're working all the time, but in a light load. That's what you lose.
And that's what people lose. So they don't necessarily notice it right away. And that's why a lot of people are like, oh yeah, keto's so effective. And then they plateau on it, and then they fall off. And then, you know, like, that's what happens, right? But it's...
Matt Smith is smart, though. He knows,
no, that's fine. It's just that's
he's Canadian. He's better than most Americans.
It's just a little fun facts, little fun fact keto, like, stuff, you know, is all. So.
Yeah, he's Canadian. He knows what he's doing. He's smart.
Yeah,
he's the better part of North America.
If you do it properly, it works. It's the people who think that you can be keto...
That you just eat that way and you're fine.
Well, no, it's the people who think that you can be keto 80 to 90% of the time who don't realize that if you're only following the diet to that amount, that it completely, you know, doesn't work. If you're not 100% committed to keto, it doesn't work. You know, and a lot of people don't seem
they have like their cheat days still, and that's not how that works.
And you can't have a cheat day if you're being keto, because your body has to like be in ketosis to like do the thing it needs to do that to make keto worth it.
It ruins it.
It ruins it. And the thing about a keto diet is if you're not in ketosis, it is awful for you. And if you're doing anything other than like being in an active state of ketosis, a keto diet is the worst thing you can possibly do to yourself.
Yeah. And so many people are doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's the only thing. You know, it's like if you don't do it like 100% commitment, it does not work even a little bit. So.
But you haven't watched Matt Smith, but he's a highly intelligent dude. So he's a model Canadian citizen. Him and his cool tattoos I wish I had.
Keto breath is a real thing.
It is a real thing. But Matt Smith is the model Canadian citizen. I won't hear anything otherwise.
Yeah.
But
well, that's just closed-minded of you, Mr.
How
Open-minded.
Dare you? Canada's the better part of North America. I won't be convinced otherwise. But as long as we get rid of Justin Trudeau, no offense.
Oh, you don't like good old Jay.
I don't like Justin Trudeau.
I know you don't.
Fuck that guy. But like Matt Smith is he's mad cow. Okay. Well, I mean, at least you'll be active for the last couple months of your life.
I'm also gonna pee. If you want me to bring down the gin and tonic. Probably not the ice. I'll just leave it up. It'll be fine.
That's fine. We gotta try it regular anyways.
I'll take care of
the recycling.
all of this.
Thank you.
I'll be back.
Perfect. I'll be here.
I will say redacted. Yeah, that's
redacted. Redacted. I get it, but it's
let
just
them talk too much shit about me.
They won't talk shit about you. They talk shit about me a lot, but they don't talk shit about you because you're better than I am.
Oh sure.
I wish I had British genes. I have all Germanic genes, but it's just it's just a couple things. I got a lot of cool things. I got tons of things. Like, you'll appreciate. You probably can't see them all. They're a little off camera. The very last one, right there in the end. That is a Ross Mark III. It is serial number 1047 of all of the Ross Mark IIIs. No anything. 100% Canadian gun. Then I have a Canadian property marked SMLE Mark III next to it. Then I have a Long Branch made. No. This is a Canadian property marked P14. Then a Long Branch made number 4 Mark I Star. I have so many Canadian guns because I like them so much. And like, I don't know if you've heard about my military history, Matsmas, but I started as a Canadian Ranger, and that was the first gun I qualified on. Was a number 4 Mark I Star. Now, no, feminism needs to exist for a reason. So some people blow it too far out of proportion, but it exists for a reason. And yes, I do care about her quite a lot, like a lot. So, just be careful there. But like, you're fine, Cyber Andy. You're fine. You can have whatever opinion you want. That's the thing. Like, that's the whole premise of pretty much what the stream's been. You can have whatever opinion you want. I'm not going to think any less of you. You can have a different opinion, man. It's going to be okay. So, but like, a lot of it is like, I respect you for having whatever opinion you're going to have. But in the same, you just got to treat me the same way. I want you to respect whatever opinion I have. And lo and behold, turns out we can exist in the same world, right? That's it. No, I don't have any serrated bayonets. I've got a 1907 bayonet on the Ross, 1907 bayonet on the number 1 Mark III. It's not even a star pattern. It's a true number 1 Mark III. And then the P14, I don't have the bayonet on because I just put the Parker Hale target sights on it, the like late 19 teens, like marksman sights on it. So I had the bayonet off it. I had the bayonet in the other room, but it's not on it. And then number 4 Mark I Star is a Long Branch 1952 made 6 groove, which they only made for 2 years. It's widely regarded as the most accurate number 4 rifle is the Canadian Long Branch 6 groove patterns. They made from 1950 to 1952, and it has a Canadian made bayonet as well. So it's something we work on. I cut her off a lot because I went to school to be a politician and stuff like that. I'm good at arguing. I cut her off a lot. It's a very common thing when you have a point to interject on what we're talking about, to interject, and then you move on. She doesn't like that a lot. She likes to speak her full mind, and then you could speak. And I'm working on being better at that. I'm not perfect at it. She'll tell you that. But I'm working on being better at that. So you should get an SMLE. I have a bunch of them. I have a bunch of SMLEs. They're definitely cool. I built that one is entirely built by myself. I brought it as a barreled action, a Canadian proof marked barreled action made in Enfield in 1915. It's an actual Enfield 1915 produced, Canadian marked after World War I property thing. I put it in the stock and found all the other parts and put it together. So like I did all of that. I put that whole rifle together. So I built it. So bedded it and all that other good works. I should get my bayonet so I don't lose it for the P14. There. Yeah, like I said, there you go, Cyber Andy. That's all it has to be. Everyone can have their own opinion, man. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Everyone can exist together. It's been that way for forever. Hey, you. What you doing, Victor boy? Hey, you, buddy boy. But yeah. Well, there we go. It's whatever. Everyone can have their own opinion. That's the part of coexisting. So, it's how you coexist with people. You understand that everyone's going to be different. It's just accepting the fact of how life is. It's not going to be an echo chamber. That's right. Wherever Victor went, he probably went upstairs because they're pretty much all her cats except for Lady, who is right there. Lady is her cat, but Lady likes me a lot more. And Victor Boy is like half mine because I decided that we should get it. A Cad Pat rig right now. I wish. God, you know how bad I wish I had a pair of 7034 Canadian Cad Pat pants still? Because like I have a shirt. I was able to find a blouse, but I haven't been able to find a pair of 7034 Cad Pat pants. And it sucks, because I really wish I had a pair. But, oh well. But I also like Cad Pat. My rucksack's just there off. Oh, you can see it right there. A little bit. Cad Pat. Right there. Welcome. Hi. Welcome back.
I also brought a beer because it was on top of it. So this
makes sense. You got club soda, not even tonic water?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want the...
It's fine.
Is it?
It is, yeah, it'll work.
Do you want the other one?
So all that club soda is it's salt?
I can go run.
No, it's fine.
I can get the other one.
No, it's fine. Just sit down. So all that club soda is
just what I grabbed.
It's basically just sparkling water plus salt.
Well, perfect.
That's all it is.
Better for...
Yeah. But
well, the chat was all active while I was away.
It was basically all they said. Cats, they don't like our hot takes on political opinions. Apparently, you're cute,
oh,
and yeah.
I don't know how to scroll. It doesn't. Do I have to click on it to scroll down?
It doesn't scroll.
It doesn't scroll. Okay, well that's just gone forever. I guess.
That's why I'm giving you the
fine.
thing.
Okay.
Basically, it was you're cute, and
Thanks.
they don't like your hot takes. They don't like
that's
my hot
fair.
takes.
No, yeah, that's fair.
And stuff like that. So. Matt's supposed to talk about Cad Pat, which is the fancy Canadian digital pattern. Which everyone likes. It's the best. It's the first digital pattern.
Yeah, I was gonna say. It's actually my house, just so we're clear. It's my house. So.
It is her house.
Oh. Meow, kitty cat.
Yes, kitty cats. Like this one right here.
It's not that I'm not a fan. No, he's bringing it up. Okay, I'm bringing it up because you're bringing it. It's not that I'm not a fan of debates. It's the way that you're trying to go about it. And he's not going to, like, give his opinion because, A, we're not doing actual debates.
I could destroy you. Like, here's the thing. I'm basically a politician. I would absolutely do everything except for actually put the knife into your body. Destroy you. I'm so good at arguing. So good. But, it's whatever. If I could get into like a political position, oh my god.
Oh, okay. So Maximus thinks I'm ugly, but Cyber Andy thinks I'm cute.
Whoa, now Maximus. Whoa.
He said they. Whoa. So he is disagreeing with they. That's fine.
Whoa.
He never said that. Okay, that's fine.
No.
It's fine. I'm ugly. I can take it.
No. How dare you? How dare you call her ugly, Maximus?
So what we have here is. We have the new flavor of Empress Gin.
From Canada.
From Canada. Also female company.
It is a female-owned company. Yep.
This is their new flavor, elderflower and rose.
It's some of the best gin in the world.
They have a purple one that was very like online famous. Because it makes very pretty cocktails and despite like it's very purple in the bottle, and then like when you get it in a glass and you start mixing it with other clear liquids, because it
changes color.
Yeah, because it's colored with like butterfly peas.
Yeah.
So it gets like this really pretty blue color. So it was very like online famous for a while.
So if you like gin, Empress makes
Right.
Awesome.
So-
It's world renowned gin.
And
actually.
this also has black carrot in it to like give it a bit of this color.
red
so,
color, yeah.
It's a lot more red. Like it kind of looks pretty purple. I almost should have brought the other one.
The
down
regular
just
bottle's very violet. It's
Yeah.
very like blue violet. Yeah.
So
But it's very good gin if you like gin. We both like gin a lot. Gin is awesome, and it's an awesome.
that's not what you meant. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever.
I know. I'm just giving you shit, man.
Hey, baby Lou.
Look at you, buddy.
I was also So I went upstairs. I went to the bathroom. I had a snack. I pet Pippin because he was around. So yeah.
Pippin's a good boy. He likes
He
to hide
is
in the bed.
Very good
Hey,
boy.
Pippi, come here. Pippi's so scared of everything, so it's rare to see him on camera. So
Yeah, he hasn't been on camera much since he was little. There's a couple. I think there's maybe like one stream when he was pretty little.
there's a
That was
couple
really cute
pictures
where
of
he-
him. Yeah.
He put his face right up to the camera, so
Yeah.
you get like a really good Pippin snout shot.
But he's
which I'm
way
still-
bigger now. He's giant.
Is
He's
this-
huge.
Did you have a makeshift
I've got a garbage right here. It's this box of Triscuits. It has a bag of chips in it. There you go.
Okay.
Yep. There we go. Because it's all like recycling approved stuff, but I just haven't brought it yet. This is made in Victoria, British Columbia. For those of you who don't know.
Yeah, Victoria Distillers, British Columbia.
So
Distilled and bottled in Canada.
that's right, because we make everything the best.
85 proof.
That's right. Which is how much percent?
42.5.
There you go. How's it smell? Like booze?
Like gin. I don't know if I get the elderflower and rose, which is one thing
Okay.
I was concerned about.
Okay. It's a
It
little less intense than most gin.
Kinda just smells like gin.
Well, gin is gin. It smells like pine
But,
needles.
I mean, I know elderflower and rose are both very, like, floral notes tend to not come out in pretty much anything that you put floral notes into. So there's that. Do you want me to pour for you too?
I do.
Okay.
You're doing both. I want you to be consistent on
I'm gonna
both.
do a little extra because we're gonna taste it, and then I'm gonna put the
Club soda.
club soda apparently because I'm too fucking stupid to grab tonic water.
It's all right. We'll make it work. Okay. We gotta get. That's about right. It'll be fine.
Close enough.
We gotta get the
But
swirl.
Those wine pours though that I did on Christmas were
perfect.
they were perfect.
Up at the McMansion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you swirl it around a little bit and you get your nose in there, it's still very ginny.
Oh, okay. Doesn't change
Yeah.
at all. Okay, perfect.
No, it doesn't really change at all. But to be fair,
I can smell it more. I can smell it from here.
Gin is very overwhelmingly piney because of the juniper. Gin is essentially flavored vodka, but the flavor is juniper.
Peppy Lou, you still hanging out down here?
He wants to come hang out, but like Victor's also laying right there in the door.
My baby.
All of them are down here. I
Peppy
think.
Lou.
He's not little. He's gigantic.
He's huge. He's our biggest cat.
That's Wish.com Savannah cat right
Yeah,
there.
like-
So
Like Oliver. So Oliver's like 8 years old. Pippin is coming up on 2.
Yeah.
Which like cats will generally continue to grow until they're about 2 years old. Pippin hit. He was probably 9 months old by the time he was about the same size as Oliver. And now Pippin
He's
is
fucking big.
bigger. And Oliver, because we found this company that does like cat DNA tests and like will tell you like what percent of like what breed your cats are.
But also like what allergies and health concerns they have and stuff. Yeah.
Which was the more important part, but
Yeah.
like also like, and so Oliver is like part Maine Coon, and Pippin is still bigger than him.
Yeah, Pippin's
Like-
just like part raccoon. Yeah, just like gigantic.
Pippin was the one where in his swab they found dog DNA in his mouth.
Yeah. Just like
We don't have a dog.
yeah,
Okay, to
Yeah.
be clear,
yeah.
there's no dog in this house, and there was just.
There was a dog that lived in this house before
But I,
here. Yeah.
you know, I vacuumed and we did a bunch of disinfecting and sanitizing and everything like when
But,
I
like,
first
still.
moved in. But also, like, there wasn't dog DNA in Oliver's mouth, right? So it's like, I think both of them had, like, chicken DNA, and that's, like, that checks out because, like,
They eat chicken food.
Yeah, like, I'll feed them chicken, though, and, like, if I get chicken, I'll, like, you know, I cut off parts. I'll cut off the fat. If I do, like, the tenderloins, I'll cut out the fucking, like, strip in the middle or, like, whatever, you know. Yeah. So it's like, I'll give them raw chicken and stuff, but it was like dog DNA. Like, where did that come from?
But also, like, I love how they're like, for Oliver, they're like, and he's got bad breath. And
yeah, like,
we know
90% susceptible to, like, halitosis and whatever. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, you tell me what you think. What do you think about gin? Because I like a lot of gin. I drink a lot, probably a lot more gin than you do. But
okay.
What do you think?
I get the rose.
Okay.
I feel like it's very sour for a gin. I am getting a lot more, like, tart notes, and I think it's because they've done the rose petals, because, like, I was a stupid... I've bit rose petals before, okay? Yeah. We'll leave it at that. I've bit rose petals before, and it kind of tastes like biting a rose petal.
Yeah,
like the bitterness.
I would agree. Not the
flower.
sour, but like bitter. Yes, bitter's a better word. It's got that very floral, bitter note to it. It's very floral, bitter, heavy. But gin is going to be bitter, heavy, anyways, because juniper. But you're right. It does have that very. It is very floral. In a lot of ways. Oh, hello, Victor.
Hey, baby boy.
He's not a big boy. He's the smallest.
Hey, baby boy.
He's the baby boy.
I said baby boy.
Hey, baby boy, Victor boy.
But the initial aftertaste is still kind of burny, but, like, the delayed aftertaste is very floral and light.
It is very floral, yeah. It's very light. I agree. Very lightly floral. It's very floral forward the whole way through.
I feel like my mouth tastes like a rose perfume right now.
Mm-hmm. Or, like, if you just, like, you know how, like, have you ever had one of those, like, fancy, like, dandelion salads?
Yeah.
It's a lot like that. So, it's very, very floral. Does it change color cool like the other one?
Not so much.
Not really. Well, I guess mine's gonna be rough.
That's why I brought a second one.
It's alright.
I knew.
Gin's good. I love gin. Gin's a fantastic drink.
Can't help it. They just have these little 7.5.
I know. The tiny cans are very hard to measure. I will give you that. Alright. Re-sniff. Still very floral.
Yeah.
Gin's kind of very hard smell to overpower. I still get a lot of that, like, plant waste.
I was gonna say, I don't think I like it very much.
I don't like it as much either. It does diversify the flavors a little bit, but it's still that very, like, florally plant waste forward.
I wonder if the tonic water would.
The tonic water would, well, because the tonic water would add a little sugar to it as well, which is like when the same thing like when why I try new whiskey at like room temperature chilled and then with Coke is because the sugar can actually bring out a lot of the developed flavors, whereas this is just going to be salt and carbonated water, you know. But like, there's still plenty of bottle left, so like we can drink this and then try it again.
Yeah, with tonic water.
With tonic water, but it's still not bad. I feel like it's going to be good with the tonic water. The sugar is going to help it a little bit.
It could potentially be good like in a drink though, with like other stuff too. So.
Well, the thing about using so much like floral stuff, and it's the same thing that like IPAs have. Is plants have, to us humans, in our taste buds, so many bittering agents, which is tannins. And this is a very tannin-forward...
You and your tannins.
This is a very tannin-forward gin, because of the two plants that they put in it are just very, very tan.
light.
They're very tannin forward, but it's not in a bad way because it's not just bitter. You still get those bright floral kind of chlorophyll-y notes, but then there's a lot of tannin though on kind of the midsection of the drink. But I would like it. I like it actually as far as gin goes.
I was gonna say, what, you would like it? What do you mean?
I'm one of those weird people though, like the smallest portion of people that actually really likes that bitter flavor profile.
Well, that's why it's funny that you don't like IPAs as much as I do, because that's what.
Well, here's the thing. Theirs is not a ton of tannins. It's just so floral.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'd necessarily call it floral, but it's definitely like bitter. So
yeah, it's very, but it's like, you know what I mean, the like chlorophyll-y. Like,
I don't know. That's not what I taste, but
I taste that very like chlorophyll-y, bitter flavor profile forward.
I feel like if I did, I would like it more like, because I feel, at least like in my brain, like chlorophyll is like so green, you know? It's like when you like.
That's
like
what I taste when I have IPA.
When you pull grass up out of the ground and you like eat grass.
I don't know. I'm not
sorry,
a cow.
everyone else eats grass, right?
Yeah, but like I know what you mean. That like the very green, and that's what I get when I have an IPA. It's the very green, like eating dandelions,
that's
like
so
chlorophyll-y forward flavor. And I don't get that as much in this. I get the floral notes, but I get more of a tanniny bitter
like
in this.
If you ever like one of the things I would do with like grass is like if you pull it, like if you can pull it with the stalk and you go to like eat the root, like the white part of it, and like by the time
I grew up real poor, but like that's a new level of poor if you have to eat fucking grass.
It's not that we had to. It was just like it was like a snack. You know, it was like
you gotta try everything
clover,
once.
Like
you can eat purple clover and it tastes like lemon.
Purple clover, or like if you found like the I don't know. I've only ever called it like sour clover. Like it looks like clover, and if you like eat the clover leaves, it's like it's really sour.
But it's like eating a lemon. Yeah, it's good.
Or like honeysuckles and stuff. But like we found there's like certain species of grass. Like if you can pull them out and like got like the longer like white roots, like eating that. But it's like so chlorophyll to me is like eating grass, and then when you get past the root and you start getting to like the grass part, right?
Yeah,
like the part where I stopped eating.
Yeah, because it gives you that bittery, tanniny flavor. You know what I mean? And it's that. That's what I get from IPAs. It's an overwhelming floral flavor.
I feel like I kind of feel like it's like pine or like juniper or something is like more along the flavor notes that it goes with to me. But
I can see that because a lot of grass is like Kentucky bluegrass, and that's very the same thing. But like the natural grass
sucks.
It does suck. But like that's what a lot of like grass is here. But like actual like prairie grass is not as intense. But this is very like
it's probably more prairie grass, like what I'm.
This is more like less of a florally, like grass flowers type stuff is in the florally tannins. This is more of in like the woody tannins, I would say. Like pine is a woody tannin, like oak is a woody tannin. You know what I mean? So it's like there's those two different breaks, and this has both. It has forward a little bit of that florally note because of the rose, but then you get to like it's a gin, and you get the juniper-y, woody tannin. You know what I mean? Bitcoin doesn't exist. That was a marketing strategy. That guy made a fortune. Silver's worth its weight in silver. Stocks are whatever value everyone says it is, and ETC can be whatever your heart's desire.
Devin got super screwed over by was it your accountant?
Yeah.
Yeah. Devin got really screwed over by an accountant.
I got
a few years ago.
A couple. Well, it was a clerical error that made it, but like where I found out about it was when I dumped like $2,000 into like paying your flute off. Yeah. Was where I really found out about it because they're like, oh.
No, you didn't help me with that.
I did.
Mom to.
No, I paid for your flute. I actually still have it on my.
But Mom did. I don't think I had both of you. Because I asked and you said no.
No, I did. I paid money, and I have the receipt about it actually still. where I paid $2,000 towards your flute because I think you were talking about your mom also did help.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the full amount that you needed.
Yeah, because I had to take out a credit card from the music store for it. So
yeah,
maybe that was it.
Because like I know your mom was because she was going through some stuff at the time, and she only could pay for whatever, and then I ended up paying like $2,000 towards it. But
maybe at the end, but not initially.
No, not initially. It was right at it was at the end, so you could avoid interest payments or whatever.
Maybe that was it.
I dumped. Yeah, she plays the flute. She's like a professional at it.
Professionally, yeah.
She has like a degree and shit.
Yeah.
Whereas my only degree is at killing people, which is going to be much more valuable in a couple of years. But oh god,
I can just go get shot first. That's fine.
I just want the governor to say martial law. Oh my god, the field day I would have if Tim Walz would just say martial law. I have a to kill list that has like 30 names on it that I really want to check some of those people off. But
anyway, accountant.
But anyways, they moved a decimal point wrong, and it ended up being like spending more money than they caught it basically right when I got to 0, but I thought I had tens of thousands more than I actually did because of a decimal point error. And it was like, oh, so like I'm still actively recovering from that and like paying back into that and like paying down debt and stuff now and stuff, but like getting there, getting near 0 at least, getting back into the positives.
Yeah, so, which is wild. So
it's just taken a while.
Yeah, but I don't know. I wish I would have like bought Bitcoin like back in high school when everyone was like
cents on the dollar.
Yeah, when it was like super cheap and everyone was like joking about it, and I was like, yeah, that's fucking dumb.
Well, it's also like crashed now, and it's not
crashed
worth
now,
anything.
but there was a point where it wasn't.
It was worth a lot. Yeah.
If I had bought it at that point and sold at the right point, which I mean, that's
stocks in
right?
general.
That's stocks in general.
You
but
buy
it's like,
Apple stock at 13 cents and it's worth $100 now.
Well,
you know?
yeah. I mean, I had friends in high school who bought Bitcoin, right? Like in that era, like early 2010s or whatever. And so like I have friends who bought it at that point. I don't know like when they sold or like anything like that, but it's like I know I have friends who bought Bitcoin like early 2010s when it was like, you know, maybe even dollars, but like, you know, when it was like cheap as shit. And my mom's husband, he actually, back in the day, his investor had, or his like accountant had told him to invest in Apple, and he was like, computers? Nah. And like chose not to invest in Apple.
He could have been a millionaire.
Right? And it's like, how do you not kick yourself over stuff like that? Like he was so close. Like his accountant was pushing for it so much, and he was like, yeah, no, absolutely not. Like computers not going to be big.
Well, that was the thing. Like my mom did the opposite. She went to school to be a stockbroker.
Yeah.
And so she took all that advice, and that's why so I'm 29. My mother retired when she was 25. Okay, she's 54. Now, she's got more money than she could ever spend in her entire existence. And all she does is drink, Windsor, and smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day. She gets up at noon. She goes out to eat at a fancy restaurant twice. And then she goes to bed at like 7 p.m.
Yeah. Devin's mom also used to play flute.
My mom also did used to play flute.
I almost got that flute, but
you did. My sister sold that.
Pawned it.
My sister sold that. Yeah.
But that's fine.
There was also a clarinet in there somewhere. That was a very expensive, like Italian, like sterling silver keys, actual full hardwood clarinet that disappeared somewhere as well.
Both of those were ridiculously amazing instruments that are just like
gone now.
Pieces of history that are who knows
which sucks. But
hopefully with somebody who is enjoying them immensely.
Hopefully somebody that is actually appreciating them, because it would be that would have been really nice to have those two things. Yeah,
those are intense pieces of history. So.
But sorry, my mom loves me less.
Yeah, this is true.
Whatever. She's coming around. She's coming around to the idea.
She's thinking about it, yeah.
She's coming around to the idea. So since my sister's, getting a divorce and all that other good jazz already.
yeah, lots of music stuff. I
There's
don't
a
know.
lot
Like,
about music stuff.
sacred music is kind of whatever. Like, a big thing is like definitely, I don't know, like just separating from what it is, and then it's also like what you're doing it. But a lot of it is just gonna be. It is gonna be the history of that. Is like a big historical factor of music is that a lot of it has been alive and is widespread as it is because of like the religion industry. So like definitely accepting that, but there's also just a lot of things that like you have to accept. Like even when I was inquiring college, like most of our performance venues were churches, and it's like that's just the way it is. Like churches have amazing acoustics for one.
They're designed for that. Yeah.
But you know, it's also that like I also understand that a lot of people like surrounding me are very religious, and like regardless of how I feel about it, a lot of them are, and they're just comfortable with it. And like we're kind of at a point right now, I think, in society where like even though a lot of people think that we've shifted from religion, we really haven't, because we have stuff like that where it's like it's very normal for people to think doing things in churches is normal. But like even like from a military aspect, where like the military is supposed to be like it's a non-religious organization that accepts your religion, but at the same time like a large number of like official military gatherings I've been to, if it's any sort of like public anything, like there's almost always a chaplain, right? We still have chaplain as an actual job duty. We still have chaplain's assistants as job duties in the military. So it's a non-religious organization that supports religion. The one thing I will say is it doesn't necessarily support a specific religion, you know, and I've seen chaplains of like many different religions, and there's a lot to be said for that, is that a lot of times like they're not seeking a chaplain of a specific religion, it's just any chaplain to like do their invocation, which
So
is
the Army
fine.
have like non-denomination?
I don't believe that they. So, no, in the fact that I believe every chaplain has to have a denomination that they're specified to, but it's that like when you request a chaplain, I don't think you can request a specific chaplain.
Okay, because
I
like I
think
know
is how that works.
in
Do
Canada,
not quote me on that.
yeah,
Do not quote me on that. I believe that's how it works.
because I know in the Canadian Army there was like every chaplain specialized in a certain sect of religion, but like they were all qualified as a non. They were all given a brief, like a basic training of whatever all of the other sects of religion are, like Hindu, Judaism, Muslim, blah 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 blah. You know, and they would all be non-denominational. So if you do get combat deployed, when you would have to do a funeral for somebody, you could, even though you were like a Catholic specialized chaplain, you could do a non-denominational Muslim funeral.
The thing that's different there is like, which maybe a deployed environment would make it different, but it's always like
deployment makes everything fucked.
It's always the family or next of kin of
that
the deceased that decides what the what it is. So like, I think if you were like, I don't care, I want a service, they would just send anybody.
They would just be like, yada yada, yeah.
If they were like, okay, I specifically want, let's say, a Catholic service, if they didn't have anyone there who's Catholic, you know, they'd be like, okay, like you can.
The Protestant can be the next best.
Yeah, it would be like maybe they could offer a Protestant, or they could be like, okay, if you want to find somebody, which like the only thing I could say is like, since I do military funerals, right, like we don't necessarily always have like, actually I don't know that we, because of the nature of the ones I do, it's not typically people who are serving who are like,
you do a lot of long retired people,
right? So it's generally retired people, but like there is a chaplain that the state cemetery provides, or you can have your own, and that includes like there's kind of like a generic county chaplain who can do it, or you know, whatever. So a lot of times it's just like whatever church these people went to, because like generally that's kind of like the thing. So it's usually like whoever is doing their church or whoever would be at the church that the main part of the funeral is going on. But there's also like a county one who will come do like a non-denominational one. So like it really depends a lot of stuff. But
yeah.
So he's saying I didn't really answer. Like, no, I'm not gonna get mad about playing music from other people, but it's also like it's a very big thing in the music industry right now. Like a big thing that a lot of people like a hot item for regular people, right, will be like Michael Jackson, right? So like there's been a lot of stuff that's come out about Michael Jackson and people are like, oh, is it still right to like support his music?
To play Michael Jackson music, yeah.
You know, for a lot more people like in the music industry, it'll be like Wagner, like Richard Wagner, like Ride of the Valkyries, right? So like Wagner was like a very like self-pronounced like Nazi, basically. He was very anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
He was very vocal with these opinions. He did a lot of stuff that it's very controversial now, and that's a thing that like for the music industry it makes it a lot harder because like his music, a lot of his music, right, Ride of the Valkyries, most people know what that is. Even people who aren't music people. Ride of the Valkyries
is a very well-known song.
Even people who aren't music people know
what the song is. They've heard the melody before.
Right, yeah. Even if you don't necessarily know it by name, if you hear it, you know it. And so it's one of those things where it's like, do you just stop listening to and supporting this person's music because of their views? And so it's like, in that way, I can very much like...
Well, it's a lot of like, history is like, yes, this was the shit of the time. But like, you have to look at it through that window of time. You can't apply modern standards.
Well, I think both of these cases,
to this window of time, you know. But like, also like,
both of these cases are not that.
Like Wagner was super racist. Like even in his time, that was an extremist position. I understand that, but like...
Right, and the thing with Michael Jackson is not that now we think it's wrong, it's that we've always thought that touching children is wrong, we just didn't know about it at the time, right?
Yeah.
So it's like things like that, where it's not even like being a product of their time, which I think that somebody being a product of their own time can be a very different conversation than somebody doing, you know, these other things. But it's one of those things where it's like, you can't really negate the effect that they had on... Things like music, we'll keep with the topic, music at the time and their effect on history. You can't negate that just because of what kind of a person they were. But is it worth trying to not put their music up on a pedestal the way we do? And that's the big thing with Wagner, is that it's very hard to do that because he did so much for music.
He did.
Right?
He did a lot for music.
It's very, very hard.
But he was also super racist.
You can't negate the effect he had, right? So it's like there are these like very, very big conversations about that, and like is pushovery as it is, sometimes it's just worth it to push past that, and that's a much bigger conversation than what you were talking about.
Well, a lot of it is like, is his contribution to music bigger than his contribution to racism?
I mean,
Victor disagrees.
It can be part of the conversation, but it isn't necessarily, and especially with something
like... It's two different topics, though, so it doesn't apply.
Right, exactly.
Really.
It's two different topics, because especially with music, it's the other thing is that all of the things he's influenced from then, so it can be people he influenced one generation down who weren't racist, but they took influence from his music, and so now you have all of these people who have taken his influence, and although they don't share his personal values, like their music is influenced by racist tones, right? Yeah. So it's stuff like that where it's like it's such a thing, and it's a big debate, you know, and it's like, but this is a much bigger debate than like playing sacred music in a non-sacred setting. But it's a very good topic about like that kind of sort of thing. And it's still, you know, like I definitely know, I know a lot of like musicians who identify as Jewish who refuse to take part in any sort of like playing of anything that's like Wagner. You know, I know people
he was a Nazi.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't always a thing. But I know people now who like won't take those steps, and you know, like very much will refuse that. But I mean, personally, I'll say as like a non-religious person, like it kind of comes with the time. Like, if you're playing music from before a certain time period, for the most part, it's probably gonna have religious connotations. I'm not really going to discriminate
that's
in that way. I'm
who
not
made
gonna
music.
be
That's who had the money to produce
upset
that
about
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna get all up in stuff like that. Like, that's not a huge deal to me. You know, like, I even remember, like, there's even music I played, like, in high school and whatever that had, like, very religious, like,
Undertones,
titles.
yeah.
Not even undertones, just titles in general, right? Like, I remember I was maybe I think I was in ninth grade, right? Like, I played a piece of music that was titled Psalm 46.
Yeah, that's definitely
right.
a church song, yeah.
You know, or like a big one, especially like since I play flute, it's, you know,
Flute's a very religious music,
right.
Yeah.
Flute is a very religious thing, but, you know, other things with flute is like Yesu, joy of man's desiring, like, that's another thing that'll come, but, like, you know, I'll end up playing a lot of church music or whatever. It's just like, I'm not gonna make a big thing about it, and especially though, if it's like a paid gig, as much as that probably sounds awful, like, a paid gig is a paid gig. If somebody, I've played weddings before, if somebody wants me to play religious music at their wedding, I'll just play whatever music they want me to play. Like, it's not that big of a deal to me. So, like, if that's more what you meant, like, with your question, like, no, I'm not going to be mad about playing religious stuff, like, especially because, like, I'm very much outside of flute, not really outside. So, like, I also play piccolo, which is, like, an extension of flute, right? It's in the flute family. Not every flute player plays piccolo. Not every good flute player plays a good piccolo. It's a lot harder to play. But, like, especially with Vivaldi at the time, and, like, with some of the, like, Vivaldi has done, kind of, like, recorder concertos and stuff, and most of those translate into piccolo a lot better, since, like, recorder, like, like, the soprano recorder, like, the one you probably played in elementary school, is, like, in the same register as the piccolo, so, like, yeah, people like Vivaldi, like, wrote, like, actual stuff for, like, the recorder, so, like, now if people play it, a lot of times, like, they'll play it on the piccolo. So it's, you know, and I even looked at, I think there was a Vivaldi piece in A minor that I looked at doing for a piccolo thing, because I was looking specifically to do like a bigger piccolo piece, and that was one of the ones that came up, was a Vivaldi piece in A minor that I almost did, that he had originally written for like recorder, and I ended up not doing it in favor of something else, which is fine, it's whatever. But yeah, had nothing to do with that. I mean, maybe, yeah, like, I don't care. That sounds like it would be probably easy for me to play, so I don't care. I'd play it for you. I even have, like, actually a pretty decent, like, recording mic, so yeah, if I have it, if I have music, whatever, I'll play stuff for you. I don't mind.
Got some palate cleanser and then a tonic water.
Okay, cool. Clarinet. Yeah. I can say, especially, like, when you start to get into a lot, like, more advanced stuff, like, clarinet starts to be as difficult as, like, flute is. Like, I think a lot of instruments just, like, I don't exactly know what it, well, I mean, size of the instrument kind of has to do with it, but yeah, like, a lot of instruments don't really have it, but some of the harder clarinet rep, like, definitely starts to get into, like, that flute territory of just, like, how, you know, just fucking noodly it is, you know?
Yeah,
It's like, you just get
annoying.
this shit, and it's fucking fiery, right? And it's like,
like,
I have
after I learned the flute, I played
the
the clarinet just to fucking not deal with my mother. Yeah. But, like, I played the clarinet, and it's one of those things where it's like, some of those really high and those really low notes are just like, you have to use so much air, you have to have so little air, and you have to get everything just fucking right, and your reed has to be in a certain fucking condition, and it's like, which is something you don't have to deal with the flute, but, like, you, like, your reed has to be in a condition and set to a certain level of flow, because you can adjust how much space is between it and the mouthpiece based on how far up or down you have it, and, like, tons of factors and shit. And then, what is your clarinet made out of? Most clarinets are made out of resin. or plastic, even professional
It's just
ones.
a shitty clarinet. That's like trying to play good on a nickel flute. It's not gonna fucking happen, you know.
But like, so like you're gonna have different reverberation and stuff like that. But like the clarinet that I learned to play on had sterling silver keys, and it was made out of hardwood in the 1890s.
The keys aren't really going to make that big of a difference, though.
But like, well,
all things considered,
a lot of them have felt pads now. Mine had cork pads.
I mean, that's fine. It's going to be the body of the instrument.
Yeah.
It's going to make the biggest difference, though. Like, but it's like with flutes. Like, for the most part, like, a lot of times people who are seeking a different flute, like if they're looking for a different sound or something, like. Most of the time, you can just replace the head joint and keep the body and foot joint because the head joint is what affects the sound the most.
Yeah.
So it's
that's
only
where the air goes in.
It's only if you're looking for something that's going to feel different in your hands that you really have to upgrade the body and the foot joint.
Yeah.
So as far as stuff like that goes, yeah. And like as far as clarinet goes, like I assume, just because of the amount of clarinet players I know, I assume that it's harder to get the clarinet in tune when you're at your extreme
It's so
registers.
much harder. Yeah.
And
it's a pain in the ass.
I mean, I can only say that I assume because, like, I really don't actually know. Like, I play clarinet okay, but I don't play it that good. So I'm like, I can only assume that it's harder, and that's why clarinets are always way out of tune.
Because they don't position their reed correct, or they're not using a perfect lead reed. Because you can't use a brand new reed, and you can't use a worn out reed. You have to use like a well broken in reed, and like there's just tons of factors, you know. And
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there can be tons of factors in anything, but I just assume it's harder to get it more in tune because they tend to be more.
They tend to be out of tune. Yeah.
Yeah. So I assume it's harder. I assume it's not just like a clarinet-wide thing of people not trying hard enough.
No,
like,
it's a science and like an art form of like getting everything just lined up just so. And like reed positions can be different based on what the resonance material of your clarinet is made out of. And like everything down to what the actual body and the keys are made out of, it's going to affect the resonance of the material. And you have to factor that in. It's like if you have stuff that is like your keys are walked off half a turn, it's going to affect the resonance of how the sound is developed inside the clarinet. Also, like how wide of a bell is your clarinet going to have? Because there's different clarinets. Like mine actually had a relatively wide bell. It's considered. I will, but I don't have a bottle opener. Which I need my trusty the Pope's Swiss Army knife to open.
No, I was gonna say as far as like out of tune. No, it's. I mean, when you start getting like your second octave above the staff, or you know, it's like when I call it high flute range. When you start getting to high flute range with the clarinet, they're fucking out of tune. I have played in a lot of professional
high notes
groups.
are so far out.
I've played in pits. I've played, you know, whatever. It's. I'm sorry, when you get there on the clarinet, you're fucking flat, okay? And there's
all the time,
not a lot you can do about it, and the thing that sucks about it is the only times that clarinets are in that range is when flutes are also in that range, and flutes are sharp in that range. And so you have a sharp flute versus a flat clarinet, and it just, you can hear it. You can always hear it. They're flat. It doesn't help that, like, I don't like to call it perfect pitch because I don't think it's necessarily that, but I have a very strong ingrained sense of like a relative pitch, and I have a very good pitch center. So I know when something is sharp or flat, but I can't necessarily tell you what note it is. Basically.
You are really good at picking that out. I'll give you that. As somebody that kind of, because my mother was a very music major.
And Devin sings flat, right?
I do sing very flat. So like, but like my voice isn't as bad because I kind of have a more medium range.
It's not bad, but I call it.
I sing very flat.
I call it middle voice syndrome.
Yeah.
And it comes because of like when you have people who are tenors, like Devin, or altos. The thing that happens is they end up singing inner voice a lot, and so if you start diving into like music theory, and you're getting people into pitch when you're playing things like a basic, just like 3-note, like regular chord, and we'll say for the most part that like more amateur to even intermediate, you sing in major a lot. Your inner voice, your third in a chord, is supposed to be flat. It's supposed to be 13 cents flat because that's how the sound waves line up better, is having the middle voice flat. that's why middle voices end up being flat singers, is because they're very used to adjusting their voice to be a little bit flat, because even if you don't actually know what's going on, when you do enough music, you have that in your ear and you find out, and that's where you naturally start to go, is you naturally make your sound waves do that. Because if you
it feels like you're straining your vocal cords too much, trying to get to other notes.
You are, because like, you'll naturally start to do that thing, so you naturally start singing a little bit flat if you have the ear, which a lot of people do. And like, especially like when I've gotten older, like sitting in choirs, like I appreciate the hell out of one choir director I had, where he arranged us not just based on our vocal, like our voice, but he also arranged us on timbre.
Yeah.
So he had us do our after our initial audition, we did like a secondary audition, and it was our placement. And so he had us sing next to people. He started with one person, and then the second, and then
and
our third,
adjust it
and then he would adjust it. And I was not really sure about this. And then when I got up to sing next to somebody, the person I was singing next to, I could feel the grating of their voice against my voice, and I was like, that's eerie. I was like, I shouldn't be next to them. And he was like, I agree.
Yeah.
And he, you know, he put the next person between me and that person, and like he had us that way. And it has to do with like how you do your voice from, you know, like nasal to
throaty,
and right, so it has to do on this other scale. And I appreciated the hell out of that, because I was like, that's a whole other thing that's going to affect how you sing. Because I was like singing next to certain people, I was like, I can feel us just jarring together. But also as a flute player, because flute is like the only instrument you can play where you don't have an external resistance. So flute is the most similar to singing, in that all of your resonance for the instrument actually happens within your body. So it happens within all of your own resonance cavities, to include your mouth, your throat, your lungs, like your whole thing.
Your diaphragm,
so you can feel the resonance more, which I never really understood, but like I'm like half deaf, and so I didn't realize how much I was relying on like vibrations, which is probably also a reason that I have like a very, very steady pitch center, is because I know the different feelings of the different vibrations for everything, which is like, that's a fun like science physics thing.
That's a whole different like of how the sound travels through the air.
Yeah. Oh, I never intended this. He's really regretting talking about music. Okay, yeah, that's fun. Dude, I was never flat. Well, you never played high enough if you were never flat? Like,
I mean, yeah.
I'm just like, when you start getting into the altissimo register on the clarinet, you're flat. And if you think you're not flat, you are tone deaf and you don't understand. Like,
the clarinet's not also necessarily a flat instrument. Like, my clarinet made out of hardwood played sharp in comparison to other clarinets, because most of the clarinets were made out of resin or plastic.
So flute is like a brass instrument, and when you play higher, you get sharper, and when you play lower, you are naturally going to be flatter. Reed instruments are the opposite. When a reed instrument, so this is going to be clarinet or saxophone, when you play higher, you are going to be sharper. When you play lower, you're going to be flatter.
Yes.
Or opposite, sorry. When you play higher, you're going to be flatter. When you play lower, you're going to be sharper. And that has to do with just like the tendencies of the literal physics of the instrument. You cannot tell me
it's the resonance of the material.
You cannot tell me that over 5 octaves of an instrument that you are perfectly in tune all the time. That is incorrect.
Well, getting a clarinet or a flute or anything is going to be
problem if you think you were always in tune. Okay, like, even with how I like here, I know when I'm sharp, I know when I'm flat. Okay, and sometimes I'm like, I can't fucking help it. Whatever, we're dealing with it, right? But it's like, if you think that you are always in tune, you are the problem. It's good you're out of the band.
It's a group,
You should be out of the band if you can't hear it, right? Like, sorry, but like that's the point we're at. You know,
getting an instrument. That's why flutes and clarinets and violins and everything cost so much that are professional, because they are consistent through their whole octave range, and that's why they cost tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, because they are an exception to the rule of how physics apply to certain materials. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which, like, the other thing, like, saying, what did he say? Sorry, I want the verbiage right. Because what did he say? Give a single piece where clarinet sound flat. Here's the issue. If I give you a piece and you go on YouTube, all you're going to find is bands who did it right.
Yeah. Or
like,
even bands that did it wrong, but, like they still played it.
Because
here's
the
and
thing, if
nobody
I give you a
corrected them.
piece, I can't have you go listen to the President's Own because they're going to do it right. You have to go find, like, a University of North, like, not even that. Like, you're going to have to find, like, a University of North Dakota band who did it. Where it's like, they did it fine, but their music program, like,
is kind of
good.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know, like, that's what you're going to have to do. Like, that's cool. I have videos on YouTube too, my guy. Like,
I also have a shit ton of videos on YouTube.
I have videos on YouTube of me playing. I have my least favorite video of me on YouTube playing where because I played. He's probably not watching, which is fine. I was in a duo with a saxophone player for a long time.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, see, you already know.
I've seen it. I've seen all yours. Yeah.
Where it was one of, like, my first videos that I put on. It was our sophomore year of college.
It wasn't so bad though, actually.
I was very determined to be, like, in a trio with this person. So it was like a flute, saxophone, piano trio, which is like common enough that there's enough repertoire for it. But we played this for, like, one of our early recitals, like, for our performance degree. But this specific video, we tuned because his dad was recording. So his dad got the tuning and everything, and, like, I feel like this video might be part of why I don't tune on stage, but it's also because I don't need to tune on
rough.
Stage.
Yeah.
But so we go on stage and we tune. I sound great. He's playing saxophone.
Which is kind of rough. Yeah.
He's super out of tune. And he does his note again. He does the little adjustments. He does his note again. I visibly, like, in the video, I, like, look at him, and I remember, like, on stage looking at him and being like,
what are you doing?
You sure?
Yeah.
I think is what I said. I said something to the extent of, like, are you sure? And he kind of says, yeah, and then, like, we play our song, and, like,
well, he's got one of those reed instruments. He probably had a shitty reed.
Right.
Yeah.
And our piece was okay. We weren't, I mean, we started it. And,
it was
like,
good, but it was off. The whole piece.
No, okay, so, like, two things. So, like, A, he was a little bit out of tune the whole piece because he was still at a point where he didn't necessarily understand, like, holding back a little bit, especially if you're a saxophone player, like, playing with a flute player. But also the piece itself was very metrically diverse, so it wasn't really meant to be something you could, like, tap your foot to. It was like it never had the same meter for more than, like, 2 meter or, like, more than 2 measures in a row. So it was, like, supposed to, like, kind of have that feeling, right? So, like, him saying kind of felt off. It was supposed to feel off, and for the most part, like, we weren't necessarily, like, playing stuff in the same meter. However, I think we could do it better today, right, than we did all those years ago, so.
It's a music's a matter of opinion.
It's not an argument.
It doesn't matter. The blue ribbon's more for, like,
this is just
I was gonna say, like, county fairs, like, pig size? So, like, if you got a blue ribbon...
County scholarship and you dropped out. Okay, cool. I got scholarships and I stayed in school. I got lots of scholarships, actually. I could have gone to a lot of different colleges, okay, if we're talking about scholarships. I got a lot of scholarships.
She did get a lot of scholarships.
Like,
I didn't get any scholarships. That's why I went to kill people.
Yeah. Like,
and I was good at it.
I actually, I got a really good scholarship to Yale. And I decided not to go to Yale.
Gross. Yale is a cult.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. No, but
Gross. I 100% agree. That's good you didn't do that.
I did not go to Yale. I chose not to go to Yale.
Yeah, Yeah, Yale's where George W. went, and he's a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, cool guy. I also have
No, he's not a cool guy.
No,
Don't say that.
No, I'm not saying that.
Oh.
I mean, because, yeah, cool guy. I also played the Nutcracker. That's, like, not that exclusive. So, I don't know. I have looked at, like, I haven't yet, mostly because I'm afraid. I have, looked at audition stuff for, like, ballets. Like, I've looked at doing, like, ballets on Broadway instead of, like, regular Broadway, and, like, Nutcracker is definitely in all of that stuff. I've played pretty much all of it at some point before, because they do the Nutcracker for everything. Like, they've done Nutcracker for concert bands, they've done it for, like, flute ensembles, so it's like I've done Nutcracker, you know, doing, like, first flute, alto flute, like, all these other different flutes. Like, I've done so many different variations of the Nutcracker, like, not, like, sorry to, like, specifically on that one, but it's like, yeah, man, like, Nutcracker, yeah, like, people do the Nutcracker.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a classic. It's one of those things.
I also have gotten a lot of superiors. I actually, the group I'm in now it was funny. I was going through some of my old stuff at my dad's, and when I was in high school, one of my raters for contest is actually in the army band I'm in now, which I thought was funny. So I saw it and I, like, sent him a picture of it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe this happened. Like, look at this. Like, obviously, like, neither of us, like, remember that thing, but I was like, this is hilarious. Like, I have this thing that, like, you gave me. Like, that's so funny. Like, who knew? Yeah, ensemble competitions for sure.
It's whatever.
Well, yeah, that was the thing, is I could have quit school and enlisted in the Marine Corps, and then I decided not to quit school because, like, I actually looked at joining the Marine Corps before I joined the Army, and that was my thing, is I was going to be, like, 3 months shy of finishing both of my degrees.
Why would you bother?
Leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, that's so stupid. Like,
Get
why?
your degree first.
Yes, I was like, why would this be the date that you? And now I know that it all has to do with, like, ETSs and, like, getting people in, like, at a specific time. But I was like,
it's the standard flow of people. Yeah.
I was like, why would you come and be like, yeah, you have to leave in March? And it's like, no, it's January. Nobody's gonna leave in March. Right? Like, we already started this semester. Nobody's gonna leave in the middle of the semester to do a thing. So, the biggest reason I didn't join the Marine Corps, because I looked at joining the Marine Corps before I joined the Army.
They're a bunch of worthless sacks of shit anyway.
Right. So the biggest reason I didn't join them was just because of the timing, because I was like, no, I'm gonna finish my degree first. The second reason was because I was looking at the 11 bases I could have been assigned to, and they were all very far away, and I didn't
None
think
of them
I was...
are great.
Yeah, I wasn't really...
I hope you like
committed.
29 palms in the middle of fucking Arizona.
Well, it's... Because at least at the time when I had looked, there were, like, 11 different bases that I could have gone to, potentially, like, for what I was going to go for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like any of them.
Oh, say hi to Tom. He's here.
Oh, hi, Tom! Hi! We have this cool gin.
We have the fancy gin, Tom. Because we
Which
know
we
you
already
also
tried, but...
are a gin guy.
Yeah, Tom
We're going
always
to try it
shows
again
me...
with tonic water, so...
Tom always shows me all this, like, cool, like, stuff he's getting all the time, which is, like, cool. I appreciate
Tom's
it a
the
lot.
coolest fucking guy ever.
I love Tom.
He's a great guy.
We're good friends. He shows me cats, too. I show him cats sometimes.
Where are our fucking cats?
It's a good
Where are
time.
they? Victor's
They all
just
ran
off
away.
camera. No, he's right over there. He's just off camera. He's on the car. He's looking at me. I can see him. I'm pointing at him. But he's just past the door frame here, laying on the ground, judging us.
Yeah. Cyber Andy's not trying to compete with me on music. Well, I didn't think
It sounds like he's trying to compete with you on music.
I don't think you were trying to compete with me on music. I'm just saying, like, it's not, like, it's not a thing. Like, it's not something that you have to, like, compete. It's just, you know, like, he's offended I'm telling him he's not special. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I mean, just because your parents say you are doesn't mean it's true.
right. If I had a wife playing the piano and shit, learning the piano, I would be set as a man. It would be cool. You heard me play piano at Christmas. It was
I did hear you play. It was kind of mediocre.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was mediocre. Right? Yeah,
like I haven't.
It was
played
slow,
piano.
but like I knew what you were playing.
I haven't played piano in a long time, but it went okay. We went to Christmas at a kind of
very
distant
expensive
relative
mansion
of mine.
Yeah,
we did Christmas at their place, and it was okay. And they did actually have some piano books of Christmas music. They had one that was too hard. And then they had one that was a lot simpler, and I was like, well, I can kind of do this. I was trying to keep one of my step-nephews off of this awful drum set that they had gotten. And I didn't quite do that because I was too involved with trying to teach myself how to play piano.
How to remember,
Right, I was like, maybe I can teach them how to do something really easy, because, like, I remember learning, like, Boom Diata, like, rote. And I was like, maybe I can teach them something really simple
to
like
learn
on
how to play.
rote. And I was like, I would much rather hear like a Christmas song on repeat versus them just like mashing like this like
just hammering on this play drum set.
Because it's a play drum set too,
it's
right?
Not even
so
a real
like
drum
none
set.
of the sounds are even like quite right. It was just like it was so annoying. So what year was that? What year was what? Sorry. We've been talking about
but like yeah, you played pretty good and it worked out pretty well. I was just surprised that nobody realized I had a gun the whole time in the Christmas party. I could have killed everybody in the room.
Oh, it's almost due to work. It's 5 a.m. That's lame.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, it's also getting there for us. It's
also lame, but
it's 10 p.m. for us, and they're 7 hours ahead of us, so it makes sense.
Yeah, so, that's about right.
It's getting there for us. Let's get Woodchuck. I haven't read this one. You gotta finish that so you gotta have the other half of this can. Whetstone is summertime and crisp outside. Just topped off with a splash of blueberry juice to keep you refreshed.
Yeah.
Hard cider, blueberry juice, or blueberry juice from concentrate. Less than 1% of natural flavors.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I bought a variety pack of these seltzers because at the NCO club I was at before, they had one of their seltzers.
It's not super blueberry forward, actually.
Well, okay, I can only have so many questions because like the chat just like deletes them, and apparently I can't scroll down. So
we can only see about 13 comments. Anything more than that. And for reference,
this seltzer is really good.
It is.
Cider.
All but 3 of those 13 comments are you, Cyber Andy.
That's fair. Most of them are him, but.
Well, I appreciate you too. I won't say love because love is an intense word. Yeah. But like, I appreciate you as well, Cyber.
Yeah, I mean, I enlisted enough years ago that I'm an NCO now, so that's.
I'm not enlisted enough to the point where if I joined the U.S. military, they would make me an NCO immediately.
Oh, okay.
Pretty
I
much.
was gonna say they'd make you go through basic training again, but you might get to keep your rank. But
I would tell them to fuck off if you're gonna make me go to basic training. First thing I'd be like, okay, drill sergeant, let's go. Come on.
I mean,
fight me.
Okay, well, like we've talked about that before. That's like so not funny. Like
it's not funny, but like when I went to basic training, your drill instructor could beat you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, U.S. drill instructor, fight me. If you think I'm not qualified for this, I will pretzel the shit out of you.
It's you know, really not that. It's just
yeah. No, it should be.
It's like my stepbrother when like he.
Well, he's in the Air Force. That doesn't matter. He's a chump. He's a fucking square to begin with.
Right. So that's exactly the thing. It's like my stepbrother was in the Air Force, and he learned that like even if he was going to go directly from the Air Force active duty to the Army National Guard, he was going to have to go through basic training again. And then like I heard more about the Air Force's basic training, and I was like,
the air conditioned tents was
and
where I was like,
that's why you would have to go through basic training again, right? Like. You know, it's
I slept on the ground.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that was there was a different friend I was talking to who they were like, oh, in basic training, did you do the thing where like you carried half a tent and your battle buddy carried half a tent, and then you put up the tent together and slept in it? And I was like, y'all got tents?
You didn't have to sleep in a hole.
I had to dig my own foxhole, and then I put a tarp in it, and then I had a sleeping bag, and then that's where I slept. And I cuddled with my M4 because my drill sergeant was gonna take it otherwise.
He's gonna try to take it from you, yeah.
And I still remember, like, vaguely waking up in the middle of the night to my drill sergeant, like, pulling the barrel of my M4, even though I had it all tucked in, right? Like, I slept in my sleeping bag more than I would ever sleep in anything before, right?
Yeah.
I had it all the way over my head. I had it all the way over the muzzle of my weapon. I had it in there. He reached into my sleeping bag to try to pull my M4 out. And I just, like, as soon as it happened, my buddy just, like, huh, right? Like, you know, and I'm like, this is what I had to do. I had to dig my own foxhole with my e-tool.
Yeah.
And I had to cut, like, sticky, like tree roots,
yeah.
right? You know, so I'm sawing away at tree roots to, like, get this hole, like, good, right?
Boy, you better let go of my gun before I chain you that tree and fuck you.
I'm getting yelled at halfway through because it's like, you have a battle buddy and only one of you is supposed to be digging your foxhole at a time, and my foxhole is half dug. I'm partway through basic training. I have a hip injury. I have a profile for the whole thing. And I'm, like, laying out of my foxhole because, like, laying in my foxhole is, like, it makes this whole shit hurt because of, like, where it is. My drill sergeant's yelling at me. It's like, what the fuck is the foxhole for if you're not laying in it? I'm like, right?
We're like, papers, drill sergeant, and you're, like, holding up a sheet.
Like,
yeah.
You're my drill, right? It's my platoon drill sergeant. It's not even somebody else. It's the one who's been working with me the whole time. The one who got, the day I came back from med bay and got my piece of paper is the one, like, bitching at me, right? Like, you know, it's like...
That's when you gotta be real serious and be like, I will tie you to a tree and fuck you. You have no idea, drill sergeant.
No, probably like that. That was the drill sergeant that we actually filed sexual assault reports against.
If you don't have that blue disc on your hat, I don't give a shit about what you have to say.
We had one of those. Yeah. He was my favorite drill sergeant.
I was gonna say, they're the ones that actually give a shit about you. But the ones that don't have the blue disc, it's like, I don't give a fuck about what you have to say. I will beat your ass.
Yeah. He was big hua, like, infantry, ranger, like, full 9 yards. One of my
they know everything you need to know.
Right.
Yeah.
One of my other drill sergeants was, like, was an MP, also super cool, but, like, those two were my favorites. Like, I shouldn't even say that. You know what? I liked all my drill sergeants except for the one that we filed the sexual harassment complaints against. Because I had the two male ones who were super cool. The one who was, like, ranger infantry hua. The one who was former MP. The female I had who was just, like, super fucking badass. And then the guy who we filed sexual harassment complaints against. So, like, 3 of the 4 were real good, and then 1 of the 4 was not kosher.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, my favorite drill instructor was female, and I had 2. I had a female one and a male one. And the male one was, like, I just remember where he was reading all the names during basic training to make sure everyone is here. And he says, like, 2 more names, and he flips back a page, because that was the last name on, like, the second page. And he's like, are you related to so-and-so?
Oh, I know this story.
Yeah, because my father was his drill instructor.
Yeah, I remember this story.
And he ended up actually being really cool with me, because he's like, your dad never yelled. Your dad would let you fail and then explain to you why you failed.
Yeah.
And then punish you accordingly. But, like, it was like, he never raised his voice, and he's like, that scared us more than the people that yelled. Because he never raised his voice.
That was the thing with the two guys that I really liked.
If he had to raise his voice, somebody really fucked up.
Both of them were super mild-mannered, and it was just, like, the things that I heard about. Like, there was one Sunday where people were getting real fucking lax and with, like napping, like, in the bay, which, like, even though nobody was there, you weren't, like, supposed to do, right? The infantry ranger one was, like, walking through the bay, right? Everyone else is, like, full at ease, and this motherfucker is, like, napping on the bed. And drill sergeant allegedly, obviously I wasn't there because it was a male bay, but, like, allegedly went up to him and, like, woke him up, and this guy's just like, what? You know, and he's like, what? You know, like, you're not even, like, fucking hop out of bed and, like, go to at ease, right? Like, that's all right.
All I require,
right? And I don't remember if it was just that or if there was like some other shit that was going on, but like obviously then all of us like get fucking called on onto the shit and we're like getting smoked.
Get
and,
smoked,
like,
yep.
You know, when people are saying shit and like I remember so clearly him saying, he's like, what the fuck am I hearing? The only thing I should be hearing is dog tags on cement. So like I don't. It's just like a thing that I remember him. It's like dog tags on cement.
I wish my dad was never a like group punishment person. He was always a singular punishment. He was apparently, because I remember like during graduation, because none of my family showed up. Graduation, my drill instructor talking to me. He's like, your father was always like, he would teach the group, but he was always a very singular punishment. He's never a group punishment person because like not all of you fucked up. 99% of you did great. One of you fucked up, and he's always like, I'm always open to being convinced. You can fight me whenever you choose. And there's people that are like, I'll fight you, and he's like, bam, dislocated a guy's shoulder.
Oh,
like
yeah, I don't
2
think
seconds into a fight. Just was like, broke him, and it was like, you're gonna be fucked the rest of your life. Like, fought him. Almost done.
No, she's fine. Well, Cyber Andy says he'll give us $20 if we let him call in and talk about.
We don't have a call-in. This isn't a number.
I don't know how that works. So.
We don't have a call-in. Haha! I got you.
I don't. He's saying if he calls in, like I don't.
We don't have a call-in. I gotta finish it. I know. I had to get lady. Look at her. See, I got her. I got her. Look at this fluffy thing. I got her. What are you doing? You gotta put the gin in first.
Do I though?
The tonic water stirs it up, or otherwise the alcohol floats on top. Because alcohol's lighter than water. What are you doing? Even lady agrees. What are you doing?
I don't know how he's supposed to call in, but he wants to give us $20.
We don't have a call-in. You could pay $20 though. Shut up. You're fine. You're a cloud with feet. Shut up.
Rude. You're a cloud with feet.
That's what she is. Look at her.
Yeah, it's fine. You can tell because of the color.
See, I did exactly what you did. Does that negate what you did?
There's no one else. What are you?
She's just upset for the sake of being upset.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I was gonna say, like, there's nothing even to be upset about. Like, what's she doing? Like, she has blue eyes. Why are her eyes brown?
Because she's so full of shit.
You know she has blue eyes, right? Oh, Victor's coming. He don't care. He don't care. Well, you do gotta call in. I could call in on Discord, but it's okay. I don't know.
We don't have Discord set up.
I mean, you can try. If you call in and it shows up on here and we can accept it, we'll accept it.
No, it doesn't work like that because we don't have a number for him to
Well, that's what I'm saying. It ain't gonna work, but if you want to try it, you go ahead. Like, are you gonna try it with the... Now Victor's over here, so...
She's upsetty.
Now she's extra...
She's extra upsetty.
Extra race car, huh?
Extra... Yeah.
There was a really good time where she was just, like, sitting... Devin was, like, over here. She was sitting on a chair, like, in the back or, like, whatever. And she was doing that. She was like rowing real good. And I was just like patting her and just like the
yeah, just revving an engine.
Yeah, just the patting with her doing that was just like, it just sounded like a race car, like little race car engine. So.
She's so upsetty all the time. I don't know why.
Big upsetty spaghetti. So, hello, other Tom. Narrowly missing other Tom.
Which Tom is this?
Tom Waters.
Oh, Mr. Waters of the 82nd Airborne, sir.
Oh, that's
of
one,
the
okay.
better than anybody in here as far as military service goes.
That's fine. I have a couple friends who are part of the 82nd, but they're dirty, so it's whatever. But
I mean, that also checks out.
That's not as uncommon as you'd think, but there's plenty of dirty 82nders, but...
How dare you besmirch the lackadaisical, whimsical reputation of the U.S. military?
No, I wouldn't. No, it's like a thing. It's like when, before you get your wings, they say that you have, like, dirty legs or, like, whatever.
You're a dirty leg. Yeah.
Yeah, so
you're
they're
not
dirty.
Airborne. So you have to walk around.
I have friends in the 82nd who are dirty. Because they haven't got their wings yet, so...
Lame.
See, I have a point. He says she has a point.
That has a point.
I know what I'm talking about. They're dirty. They don't have their wings yet.
You may be a paratrooper, but I'm a dirty, mud-covered infantryman. I will kill and eat you.
That's fine, but you're still dirty. Like,
yeah, I'm dirty, but I will kill and eat you to live.
That's okay.
That's what it counts as a mud cruncher, a gravel agitator, a person who's just absolute cannon fodder in the grand scheme of politics.
I will say this with the tonic water instead. I think I like it a little bit more.
I do
dirty,
like
nasty. Like, okay, now we're getting a little extreme. Okay.
Anybody who's not infantry is a pogue.
But
dirty fucking pogues.
Just a dirty sapper. But like sapper or like real sapper, like SCPR sapper.
Like sappers who are like there's two kinds of engineers.
There's two kinds of sappers.
No. There's two kinds of engineers. There's the one who's like, I'm gonna build the unbreakable object, and there's the one who's like, I've gotta blow up everything. There's two kinds of engineers. Which kind of engineer are you? The one that's like, I have to build the unbreakable
not tapped, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Are you the build the unbreakable barrier or blow up fucking everything engineer? There's two engineers. There's everybody falls into one. Blow up everything or build unbreakable. Which is it? There's two. 12 round. That's a blow up everything.
Blow up everything, yeah.
That's like, fuck your immovable object. I'm going to put it into orbit.
Yeah, I was talking recently or earlier on the stream, like how I just came back from BLC. There was this one guy who we saw in the dining hall, right? So he was not part of this class. But this guy, we were just amazed because he looked so young, but he was all tabbed out, right? So he had like his sapper badge, ranger, airborne, air assault, another badge I'm forgetting, but he just had all this shit, and we were like, this man looks like he's 25. Like, there's no way this guy is 30, right? Like, we're all just every time we see him, we're just jaw dropped. Like, this man is he's got all the shit on his OCP that he can have, right? Just insane. But not tabbed, just reminded me of that, because we're looking at this guy with a sapper tab, but well, they can volunteer for it, but the odds that you're actually gonna get to do anything is actually very because you can volunteer for it in basic, but it's gonna depend on what state you go back to, and then if you're guard, reserve, or active, so it's yeah, you can volunteer for whatever the fuck you want, but it doesn't really mean shit.
Doesn't matter. Infantry is infantry. Everybody who's not infantry can get fucked.
Everyone who's not infantry is support, okay? They're needed. Support is needed.
No, that can all be done by the commercial commercial market. Infantry is infantry. Meow. I agree, Vicky.
Meow. That was a good old open mouth meow, huh? Meow. See, he didn't open his mouth, so you shouldn't open your mouth. Good times. Am I considered infantry with danger plate? You said 12 Bravo. Why would you not be considered infantry? Like you're the infantry.
11 Bravo's the infantry.
Yeah, like I understand. That's what I'm saying. You're the infantry. He asked, "Am I considered infantry?"
No.
With danger.
Aren't you like what is it, like a 42 Romeo?
Okay, well he said 12 Bravo, so like.
Aren't you like a 42 Romeo?
I'm a 42 Romeo.
Yeah. I thought so. I was a 00010.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. I'm just saying.
That's infantry. For those of you who don't know. You know what? Sometimes in order to win a war, you have to bomb an orphanage or two.
So you're a 10.
What? Yeah, I'm a 10.
00010.
Yeah, sometimes you have to
10.
bomb an orphanage or two. And you know what? Sometimes, not saying I did this, but sometimes...
He did it.
I witnessed it. Sometimes, literally a sign that says, this is an orphanage, blah, blah, and like hospital. I watched somebody pitch a live hand grenade through a window. It's fine.
That's okay. Like, Canada just bombs hospitals. That's okay.
Half the Geneva Convention exists because of Canada. I'm just saying. Google it. Google it. It's a real thing.
Okay.
I'm serious. It's a real thing. Google the Geneva Convention. Half it exists because of Canada.
Tom Waters and Devin apparently are not pogs, according to Tom. This is what I was saying before. I have nothing to talk about. I don't understand. Like, nothing to talk about when he leaves. We had so many good conversations, and I was gone, and now I don't know what to talk about. It's cool. It's fine. It's fine. Throwing canned food, then grenades in World War I, Canada. If you say so. I guess I don't know enough about that. Devin's a history person. I'm not. Just ask Devin. Yeah, I think I need new glasses because I just had to like lean forward to read that. So I believe him though. I'll believe it. I'll believe it. How many times do we have to say that we're not talking about this? I'm not afraid of the debate. I'm not afraid of the debate. I just think that like your definition of debate is incorrect. Right. So like that's the first thing is you have to stop calling it a debate, and you also on your own mentioned how debate was probably not the right word, which I agree with. Debate is not the right word. And he's not going to realize probably anything, because he's not really necessarily one of those people who like doesn't look at a bunch of other opinions, because he annoyingly does look at a lot of other opinions. Like that's kind of his thing, is that like even when we're talking and like he does agree, like he will say things that are like very much not his opinion just because like he's that person, which like I think a lot of people do need to see other opinions, but like certain people have already like kind of explored those other opinions and like don't necessarily need that like extra thing of like people doing that. So also I don't really love being referred to as the girl. So there's that. But yeah, it's not a debate. It's just that like I have no interest in like being part of a conversation where like your only interest is like changing my mind about something, especially because like you already like don't know what my view is of these specific things, and like you're already going in trying to change my mind. So like that's the thing, and that's what I was talking about before. It's like if you go into any sort of debate or anything and like your primary goal is to change somebody else's mind, like I mean, A, you've already lost, but B, like just communication wise, like that's not the way to go into it. Like it might seem to be that way because like that's what you are and that's what you want to do, but like that's not what is going to be, like that's not effective communication though, so it's just not gonna work. What alcohol has been the mood tonight? So Mr. Tom Waters, you missed. We did a whole taste testing of the new like alcoholic monsters. They are non-caffeinated, but we finally got them, even though I've been making them for a year. We finally got like the variety pack in my state. It's a couple alcoholic monsters, non-caffeinated. They're all about 6%. That mock like current flavors of Monster. We taste tested all of them. For the most part, I'd say that they were good. I mean, I like them for the most part. I've been making them. I've been trying them before, so it was really only Devin having them for the first time. So that's what we were doing beforehand. We also have a new bottle of gin that we were testing. We tested some with carbonated or like club soda. We tested some with tonic water. I went to the liquor store today and I got a bunch of stuff. So we've had a couple ciders and other things as well. So definitely a bunch of different things tonight, but we did taste test all of the new alcoholic monsters. We'll talk about truth, whatever. Gonna ignore. Yeah, that's just like that's not a debate. That's not a debate. That and like the early like when you were talking about debates was just like you didn't have a really clear like direction of like what you wanted anything to be, and that's kind of the whole thing. Is like it's fine if you like whiskey. I don't like whiskey, but it's fine. Like the smell of whiskey makes me immediately want to make my insides outsides, but it's fine. Knockmore, it has a Irish Greyhound on the bottle. Well, maybe Devin will like that suggestion. I definitely won't, but Thomas Waters had a suggestion for whiskey. It's called Knockmore. It has an Irish Greyhound on the bottle.
Yeah, I don't like a lot of Irish whiskey.
Okay, well, I don't really like whiskey either. Cyber Andy still wants to talk about debate stuff, so he keeps bringing it up. So
I got a cat.
You can't blame me on this one.
I got a cat. I can't blame you on anything.
He keeps bringing it up.
See this? So. I got a cat. I can't argue. Cat. See this? This is a good boy right here. Sometimes.
That is one very good boy.
No, sometimes he's a good boy.
He's a good boy. He's the OG boy.
That doesn't mean he's good.
Yeah, he's good.
No, he's sometimes.
No, he's good. He's the original boy. He's real good.
No, it's sometimes.
He's real good.
He got his problems.
He just doesn't like you.
That's not true. He loves me.
Well, he likes me more than you.
That's true. He likes you more than me, but he still respects me.
He's my
because I will beat him to within an inch of the hospital.
Ask Devin about the Canada and canned food in World War I.
It wasn't great. That's all I know. Corned beef wasn't the best. I like corned beef.
Sounds like the U.S. canned food wasn't
Yeah.
great. Okay, like
I like the corned beef, but that was about it. Hey,
I don't like corned beef.
you're missing out. Corned beef.
I don't understand. What do you mean corned beef? Is it beef that has been corned? I don't understand.
It's basically tinned
Like,
beef. It was just the thing.
I don't understand. Like the name, I don't get it. What is corned beef? I don't get it.
It's beef that has preserved
I don't
spices.
understand the process. It's not been corned though. It's not
No.
beef that has been surrounded by corn. Okay,
No,
why is it called corned beef? I don't get it.
Beef that has had spices and stuff added to.
They threw
preserve it.
canned food to lure Germans, then grenades.
Yeah. So the 1940. This is a dark point for Canada. Everybody agreed on a truce in 1914. The French, the British, everybody, the Germans, have a truce during the 1914 Canadian, the 1914 Christmas truce. Then, during World War I, Canada's like, oh, the Germans are kind of hungry. We'll throw food over to them. And they throw food over to them, and they're like, thank you, friends, for food. And then eventually it turned into, live hand grenades. And the Germans would run over to it and be like, a can of something fell. And they'd run over there and be like, it's a grenade. And it would blow up and kill, a fuckload of people.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, that's not nice. And
It's
then
not
Geneva
nice.
Convention became a thing because Canada was like, it's a war, isn't it? And everyone was like, but it was a truce. And we're like, we didn't sign shit. And everyone was like, that's not kosher. And we're like, it's a war. And Geneva Convention was like, okay, Canada, turn it down a notch.
Yeah.
So they definitely did that. That's 100% a thing, and we're sorry about it. But
Yeah, are you sorry about it?
yeah, it's literally laser engraved on all the bullets.
Are you sorry about it though?
It is. It's a laser engraved on all the bullets.
We're
sorry. Yeah,
You're sorry about
we're
it.
sorry about it.
We're
It's
sorry
on
about
all
it.
the bullets. It's laser
We're sorry
engraved.
about it.
It's laser engraved on all the bullets. Okay.
You're sorry about it.
Yes, we're sorry about it. But they definitely were like, aha, have some food, Germans, and then we're like, haha, explosives.
Yeah. They're very sorry about it.
Yeah, it's kind of thing. Don't start. Don't start none. Won't be none.
It was a joke about how they say sorry.
Yeah.
It's because Canadians say sorry when the word is sorry.
Yeah.
That's all. I was just trying to get him to say sorry.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
That's why I was doing the thing a whole bunch, because I said, are you sorry about it? And he said, yeah. So I had to say, no, but are you sorry about it?
I'm sorry about it.
Until he said sorry. I was trying to get him to say sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry about it.
Trying to get the Canadian accent out, but
don't start none, won't be none, Germany. That's all I gotta say. How dare you fight Canada? You'll get bodied every time. We're the only country that's ever beat the United States in a war. Get fucked.
True. They fucked the White House.
They're like, it was a tie. No, we burned the White House down and threw a rager on the lawn.
Yeah, that's what it said. They fucked the White House once.
There's a whole ass painting about it. My ass if it's a tie.
My sister-in-law is from St. Paul. Yeah, there's a lot of people from St. Paul. So.
Yeah, the Midwest is kind of a thing. Weird.
Yeah, there's people here. It's not like 10 of us. Like, I probably don't know her, so.
Yeah, it's more like 12.
Yeah.
She's one of the 2 people she doesn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably don't know her, so.
That's fair.
I'm
sorry.
I could. I could know her, but, I probably don't.
The chances are kind of...
Not good.
Kind of great to okay.
Yeah. Something weird is going on. Why?
Why? What's weird? It's what, January 3rd?
Yeah.
What's weird about January 3rd? This is one of those weird holidays about the Templars I don't know about.
Might go upstairs and have snacks. Oh, I was referring
It
to
is
her
getting to
accent.
be that time.
My accent? What do you... Well, that wasn't the same person. Okay, well...
Yeah, it is getting to be that time. The
said
stream's
something
been
weird is
going on for almost 3.5 hours. So
that's wild. That's too much time.
Over 3.5
that
hours.
Seems
it's
incorrect.
A long time. Yeah. No, it's been 3 hours and 32 minutes and 27 seconds. It's a long time, so it's probably getting close to time to end it.
Yeah,
so.
probably. Well, Tom Waters' sister-in-law is from St. Paul, and that's why he was referring to the accent. I guess my accent was coming out.
Your
growing up.
accent's
But
Minnesota.
it was my accent making fun of Canadians, so it wasn't really my
How
accent.
dare you have an accent?
It wasn't even really my accent. I was making fun of Canadians, okay?
How dare you make fun of Canada, the
I
better
was
part of
making
North
fun
America?
of them.
The United States is just our pants. It's fine.
Okay, well, Cyber Andy says he thinks it's time for us to shut it down.
It is pretty
Shut it
close to
down.
time to shut it down.
If any of you guys have seen New Girl, shut it down.
Shut
But-
it down. Yeah, it is about that time. I will agree. It's been almost 4 hours.
Yeah, it's fine. It's time for snacks and probably going to bed.
Yeah,
soon as
time for
well.
snacks and bed.
Yeah, I guess maybe going to bed soonish, but you know.
I got
whatever.
stuff I gotta do tomorrow. So.
I don't. Well, other than coming with you to do stuff, so I'll do that.
What
But,
are we doing tomorrow?
haircut, go for bargain.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mattresses, maybe.
I mean, I assume your haircut isn't going to take that long, so. we're
No,
gonna
it's
go
pretty simple. It takes like 10 minutes. if that.
Furniture shopping, so.
If that. So.
Furniture shopping, just because I like to do that, and it sounds like a lot of fun. And
We're gonna
I
go
like to get
peruse what they have. Probably
Yeah.
not actually get anything.
Probably not actually
but
buy
see
anything,
what they
but we're
have.
gonna
Yeah.
peruse. So.
Get some pickles next to the hammers for cheap.
What?
They sell pickles next to the hammers for
Oh
cheap.
my god.
Yeah, I played Asanzo before.
Tom Waters will fight you in Izanzo.
If he'll
Okay.
fight me in Asanzo? I thought he did that before.
Isn't it the other? Is it Isonzo or Izanzo?
It's Asanzo of
It's
the
Isonzo,
Isanzo River
okay.
Valley. It's in
So
Italy.
he got his Z and his S mixed up.
Yeah.
I was like looking at it and I was like, is that right? Like, I don't play, but I was like, that looks incorrect.
But I'm pretty sure I fought.
But it's fine. Sorry to call you out in front of everybody.
I'm pretty sure I fought
sorry.
Thomas Waters in Asanzo before and bodied him. Pretty sure I absolutely wrecked him.
Okay, well, Cyber Andy really wants you to debate him, so
You're wrong. Debate closed.
maybe if right, like that sounds about right. Yeah. Tom Waters says you kicked his ass.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I murdered the shit out of him. But like,
Well, maybe if Cyber Andy pays you like $20, you'll debate him. But
I mean, it won't be hard. I'm pretty good at debating.
yeah,
I'm very good at it. It's
I'll think about it. But
I'll think about it. But yeah, I'm pretty good at debating. It's kind of my thing.
it's kind of his thing. He
Kind of
is
a
a
thing.
big fan of like.
Arguing.
Devin is one of those people who is very good at debating things he doesn't believe.
Arguing for the sake of arguing.
Which
Yeah.
a lot of people aren't good at.
Yeah.
A lot of people can only debate how they feel, and Devin is very much versed in debating things he does not give a shit about.
For arguing for the sake of arguing, yeah.
So that's the other thing. The other issue is that you think someone can win a debate.
No, you can't. I'm
People
going into it
don't-
knowing I probably will lose.
Well,
but,
here's
like,
the thing: people don't win or lose debates.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's a debate. You don't win or lose, right? Like that's one of the
It's a matter of
things,
opinion.
right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a matter of opinion. But
All right. Well,
it's been a while. Somehow, apparently, it's been a few hours. So
yeah. Soon, Paige is gonna have to play Grand Theft Auto 2.
I will very soon be streaming Red Dead Redemption 2 for
Yeah.
any of you who don't know it.
Grand Theft Auto
by
2.
Grand Theft Auto 2. And this is the game I'm determined to actually play on stream. I've been meaning to play games on stream
Fully
for like
on
a
stream.
while now.
Yeah.
And I think Red Dead 2 is going to be the game that I just like play on stream because I think it'll help because I'm less invested in it than I have been in other games. Like,
Fair.
it's not going to be like weird schedules, like wanting
Yeah.
to like just play it all the time. So,
You might. It's a pretty good game.
I don't know. I think, but knowing me, I think
Yeah.
that's a thing. I'm gonna be able to like maybe play this on a thing where it's not gonna be quite as sporadic because I'm not quite as into it and like wanting to play it all the time. So
Yeah.
there should be hopefully maybe a Red Dead 2 sort of like thing coming up of me playing it. Don't get your hopes up too high, right? This isn't gonna be good. This is not gonna be like an LP.
No, you'll
Red
be
Dead
great.
2.
You'll be great at it. You're gonna suck at it, but you'll be great at it.
Exactly. I'm gonna suck at it a little bit, at least. So it's gonna be Red Dead 2, but this is not gonna be an LP. This is gonna be me playing it, figuring shit the fuck out. So
Never played Red Dead before, yeah.
Oh, gross. Okay, anyway.
Well, on that note,
yeah. So
thank you for stopping by, everybody.
finger
Hopefully,
guns.
hopefully you buy some of the whatever we tried.
Some of the whatever.
You know, and yeah. I hit the
You
thing.
got